Chapter 610. No one knew what kind of great battle had taken place inside the pouch. 3 days later, Ning Fan turned into a wisp of smoke and floated out of the pouch. His face was as pale as a piece of paper. He had lost a lot of blood essence and his eyes were filled with worry. "Have you successfully subdued the rogue devil?" Luo Yu asked with concern. "More or less. However," Ning Fan sighed softly and tied the pouch to his waist without saying anything else. Luo Yu did not ask any more questions either. He stayed in the profound Yin world to recuperate for a few days. After he had fully recovered, he returned to the outside world. Standing in the cave dwelling, Ning Fan remained silent for a long time. Then he suddenly patted the pouch. As he did so, a cloud of stinky black qi immediately flew out of the pouch. The black qi condensed and turned into a bald, burly man in black armor. His eyes were dull and empty, but his body was surrounded by the aura force of an 8th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm expert. The moment the burly man appeared, his body gave off an extremely dense, baleful qi. He took a step forward and approached Ning Fan with a hint of arrogance. Ning Fan did not say much. He pointed his right index finger and a silver line immediately appeared and coiled around his finger. The moment the silver line appeared, the burly man in black armor showed an extremely painful expression. He groaned and knelt on the ground. The body of the bald burly man glowed faintly with golden swastika characters and there was a silver line flowing inside his body. If someone could see through the burly man's body, they would certainly find that his immortal veins, flesh, internal organs and primordial spirit were all penetrated by the silver line. Ning Fan looked at the bald burly man deeply and sighed. The bald burly man was the rogue devil who had been refined into a living puppet by the Morning Ancestor puppet string. The Morning Ancestor was the ancestral emperor of the northern heaven. His puppet string was extremely powerful. With just this string, Ning Fan was able to subdue the rogue devil. Even though the rogue devil had already been subdued, the process was not perfect. The rogue devil was also considered a ferocious being. When he was in danger, he risked everything and forcefully created a crack on the Morning Ancestor puppet string. He was a living puppet which retained his consciousness. He was unwilling to become Ning Fan's puppet. Ning Fan could only control the rogue devil's body like controlling a marionette. Besides, he had to borrow the power of the Morning Ancestor puppet string to make the rogue devil temporarily submit to him. Every time the puppet string was activated, the scattered devil would submit once, and the cracks on the puppet string would increase a little. Once the cracks reached a certain level, the puppet strings would break. At that time, the rogue devil would break free from the restraint of the puppet strings and devour him. 3 times, Ning Fan frowned. According to his estimation, the rogue devil could only help him 3 times at most. Then it would break the puppet strings and break free from his control. He looked at the devil kneeling in front of him. When their gazes met, he seemed to be able to hear the devil's sinister laughter in the depths of his heart. "Junior, if I can break free from the puppet strings one day, I will definitely tear you to pieces." Ning Fan's eyes flickered. He kept the rogue devil into the devil's sealing pouch and muttered to himself, "I won't give you the chance to devour me." If there was a problem with the puppet string, the loose devil could only use it 3 times at most. In the future, unless it is a critical moment, he would try his best not to use the rogue devil. Although the loose demon can only be used 3 times, it is enough to become one of my trump cards. With the loose demon here, even if the 3-world sect really does attack me, I will not be afraid. I have stayed in the tree world for long enough. It's about time for me to return to the rain world. Ning Fan waved his sleeve and summoned Teng Xianrou and Qing Dai from the cauldron world and the umbrella world respectively. "Teng Xianrou greets my lord. Qing Dai greets your majesty, tree sovereign." As soon as Qing Dai saw Ning Fan, she immediately bowed respectfully. Her eyes were filled with gratitude when she looked at Ning Fan. She was grateful to Ning Fan for killing Wan Changkong and avenging the Nether Luo clan. When she addressed him as Tree Sovereign, her tone was 90% respectful and there was also an indescribable feeling. Teng Xianrou's eyes were filled with respect when she looked at Ning Fan. Ning Fan did not hide the death of the Vine Sovereign and Wan Changkong from her. He had already told her everything. When she thought about how even the Vine Sovereign and Wan Changkong, who were formidable figures in the tree world, died in Ning Fan's hands, Teng Xianrou's palms became sweaty. She secretly studied Ning Fan's facial features. She still found it hard to believe that this seemingly ordinary young man in front of her was actually so strong. "Am I good-looking?" Ning Fan teased Teng Xianrou. "I didn't even look at you. How would I know?" Teng Xianrou shifted her gaze away while saying, "good-looking," inwardly. All of a sudden, Teng Xianrou recalled the past when she dual cultivated with Ning Fan's sea of consciousness. Her cheeks immediately turned as red as fire. "The reason why I called you out today is because I have something to tell you. I am a cultivator of the Rain World. My real name is Ning Fan. I will be returning to the Rain World soon." Ning Fan said smilingly. "So Lord Tree Sovereign's surname is Ning?" Qing Dai seemed to have thought of something and her face turned slightly red. "So you are a cultivator of the Rain World?" Teng Xianrou nodded. She had long been curious since when did someone like Ning Fan appear in the tree world. So he came from the Rain World. Suddenly, as if she thought of something, Teng Xianrou stared at Ning Fan in disbelief and stammered, "Could it be? Could it be that you are Su Yi of the Rain World?" "You have heard of the name of my Rain World?" Ning Fan was slightly surprised. I have heard a little about it." Teng Xianrou stammered. The news of the Rain World's Pill Sovereign attaining the 7th Revolution Pill Refinement Realm had spread far and wide. Almost every Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator in the 9 worlds knew about it. The Vine Sovereign had carefully investigated the Pill Sovereign's background and found out that the Pill Sovereign did not have anyone close to him. He only had a junior whom he regarded as his disciple, Marquis White Robe of the Rain World. The Vine Sovereign had once jokingly told the cultivators of the Vine Palace that if they need the Pill Sovereign to concoct pills for them one day but the Pill Sovereign refuses to comply, they could capture this junior of the Pill Sovereign and use him to threaten the Pill Sovereign. After all, Su Yi of the Rain World was just a Void Refinement Realm cultivator. Naturally, he would not be taken seriously by a big shot like the Vine Sovereign. Who would have thought that the North Tree Sovereign who shook the entire tree world was actually the unknown Marquis White Robe of the Rain World? However, there was one thing that Teng Xianrou did not understand. Why did Ning Fan tell her all these things? Ning Fan answered with a smile as if he could see through her thoughts with just a glance. "I don't have the habit of lying to my own people. All right, it's time to return to the Rain World. You two don't need to show yourselves on the way. I will open the passage to the Rain World by myself." Ning Fan flicked his sleeve and summoned the two ladies into his Cauldron World and Umbrella World. As his cultivation base improved, he could already read the thoughts of Void Fragmentation Realm female cultivators using the mind-reading technique. Qing Dai returned to the Umbrella World. Her face was still slightly flushed. From Ning Fan's words, she knew that he regarded her as one of his own. Thus, he did not hide anything from her, which made her feel happy. Teng Xianrou, on the other hand, let out a sigh with mixed feelings. One of our own? It was very strange. After knowing that she was about to leave the tree world, she actually did not feel as reluctant as she expected. On the contrary, she actually looked forward to following Ning Fan to the Rain World. Her current identity was Ning Fan's slave. To her surprise, she realized that she was gradually getting used to this identity. Such an identity seemed to be more relaxing and happier than the identity of the Palace Lord of the Purple Vine Palace. After summoning the two ladies back, Ning Fan took out the jade slip of the Rain Gate that the Rain Sovereign gave him and performed a technique to open the passage to the Rain World. It was not an easy task to open the Rain Gate that connected the two worlds. Ning Fan was not an expert at the level of the Vine Sovereign or Old Monster Tian Fei. Even if he had the jade slip with him, he could not open the passage to the Rain World with just a wave of his hand. When he came to the Tree World from the Rain World, Ning Fan spent a month to open the passage to the Rain Gate that connected the two worlds. Now that he had returned, his strength had improved tremendously. He would need at most 7 days to open the Rain Gate. Day after day, the Rain Gate took shape bit by bit and the passage to the Rain World opened bit by bit. However, Ning Fan's heart began to feel uneasy. 7 days later, the Rain Gate appeared. At the peak of the tree mountain, A gigantic heavenly green light gate slowly opened. Ning Fan stood in front of the light gate and looked around with a thoughtful expression. As soon as the gigantic rain gate appeared, the uneasiness in Ning Fan's heart gradually increased. He did not say much. With a flash of his body, he stepped into the passage. The moment he stepped into it, the light gate gradually closed and disappeared. The passage stretched across the hollow space and was surrounded by the heavenly green light. It led directly to the rain world. If he continues on this path, he would be able to return to the middle province of the rain world. Ning Fan turned into a ray of traveling light and sped towards the rain world. He had been traveling for 5 consecutive days and he had already covered more than half of the distance. On the 6th day, a massive spatial fluctuation suddenly appeared in front and behind of the passage. 2 gigantic gates suddenly appeared in front of Ning Fan, blocking all of his paths of retreat. One of the 2 gates was the Golden Gate while the other was the White Bone Gate. The Golden Gate was at the back while the White Bone Gate was at the front. A ray of red light flew out from the Golden Gate and landed on the ground, turning into an old monster with red feathers. He was none other than Old Monster Tian Qian of the Three Worlds sect. 4 old men shrouded in black mist walked out from the ancient gate. Each of them had a cultivation base at the 3rd heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. The robes of these 4 old men were embroidered with the same pattern. Ning Fan had seen this pattern once before. When he was in the Endless Sea in the past, he was once hunted by Dao Yen. That Dao Yen had this pattern on his body. It was the identification of the cultivators of the Nirvana Palace in the Devil World. Ning Fan's cold eyes swept across Old Monster Tian Qian and the 4 old men shrouded in black mist. His killing intent surged. He had guessed that the Three Worlds sect would come to deal with him. However, he did not expect that Moksha Sovereign's men would also ambush him here. The 4 old men shrouded in black mist were none other than the 4 devil elders under Moksha Sovereign. When Ning Fan's gaze swept across them, Old Monster Tian Qian and the 4 old men shrouded in black mist took 3 steps back. They took out their magic treasures and stared at Ning Fan coldly as if they were facing a formidable enemy. Even though Ning Fan was not a void fragmentation realm cultivator yet, the fact that he could even kill the Vine Sovereign was enough for Tian Qian and the 4 devil elders to view him as a tiger. Lu Beino. I should call you Su Yi of the Rain World. Ning Fan. My Three Worlds sect has already joined hands with the Nirvana Palace of the Devil World. Now, all of our experts have come out. Even if you have the protection of your 5 broken spiritual pets, you will certainly die in this endless world. Old Monster Tian Qian sneered and clapped his hands. Suddenly, 6 to 7 light doors appeared in all directions and thousands of assassins emerged from them. Among them, the weakest ones were Divine Transformation Realm cultivators. There were more than 200 Void Refinement Realm cultivators and more than 10 Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters. This was an assassination that had been planned for a long time. The assassins that were sent out were all elites. If they were not elites, how could they deal with Ning Fan? Ning Fan could even kill the Vine Sovereign. To an expert at his level, cultivators below the Divine Transformation Realm did not even have the right to stand beside him with a clear mind. Kill! As soon as Old Monster Tian Qian gave the order, 1,000 Divine Transformation Realm kamikaze warriors immediately formed hand seals. Each of them was shrouded in blood-red light and charged at Ning Fan. When they were 10,000 zhang away from Ning Fan, they activated their magic arts and self-detonated their bodies. The magic technique that these 1,000 Divine Transformation Realm cultivators used was called the Blood Loss Technique. It was a type of suicidal magic technique. When early Divine Transformation Realm cultivators used the Blood Loss Technique to self-detonate, even late Divine Transformation Realm cultivators might die from the explosion. 1,000 Divine Transformation Realm cultivators directly self-detonated without any fear of death. When 1,000 Divine Transformation Realm cultivators used the Blood Loss Technique at the same time, the sky was filled with blood-red light that could even blast a first heavenly layer Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator to death. At the moment when 1,000 of them self-detonated, the remaining Divine Transformation Realm cultivators stood in their respective formations and formed the ultimate killing formation. 200 Void Refinement Realm cultivators, whether they were from the Three Worlds sect or the Nirvana Palace, each of them was a top-notch assassin. They also formed the second layer of the ultimate killing formation. Including Old Monster Tianqian and the 4 Devil Elders, there were a total of 17 Void Fragmentation Realm Old Monsters in this place. 8 of them broke the first layer, 4 of them broke the second layer, 4 of them broke the third layer, and 1 of them broke the 5th layer. The 17 Void Fragmentation Realm Old Monsters did not attack on their own. Instead, they worked together and formed the 3rd layer of the ultimate killing formation. With the combination of the 3 layers of the ultimate killing formation, even a 6th or 7th heavenly layer Void Fragmentation Realm Old Monster would not be able to escape death. Facing the joint attack of the group of cultivators, Ning Fan did not hesitate at all. He took a step forward and turned into black robes. Then he raised his hand and drew out the Earth Void Soul. Sovereign Qi rose around his body. His magic power was already comparable to an old monster at the first heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. After displaying the Incarnation Technique and the Soul Extraction Technique, his magic power was comparable to a second heavenly layer Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator. He lifted one of his fingers and the hollow space in all directions shattered. 1,000,000 small void swords swept across the vast sky, shattering all the blood-red light that was produced by the self-detonation of 1,000 Divine Transformation Realm cultivators. At the same time, Ning Fan turned into a trace of purple-golden wind and mist, drifting towards the outside of the 3 layers of the ultimate killing formation. The first layer of the formation that was guarded by 3,000 Divine Transformation Realm cultivators was immediately eroded. The second layer of the formation that was guarded by 200 Void Refinement Realm cultivators only lasted for half a breath's time before it turned into ashes. Ning Fan appeared in front of the 3rd layer of the formation. He pressed one of his fingers and a trace of purple-golden wind and mist coiled around his finger. The 3rd layer of the formation was guarded by 17 Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators. However, as Ning Fan pointed his finger at it, the 17 Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators simultaneously felt that the grand formation was showing signs of collapsing. Even though the 17 of them acted at the same time and suppressed the collapse of the formation, all of their magic power was being consumed rapidly to maintain the formation from being extinguished. The 17 of them were at a disadvantage when they tried to kill Ning Fan with the formation. Purple light flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. He flicked his finger repeatedly and the golden-purple wind and mist burst out. The 3rd layer of the formation immediately turned into ashes and disappeared. Even though none of the 17 Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators were injured, they were forced to take a few steps back by the formation breaking force. Their eyes were filled with astonishment. If Ning Fan broke the formation using the 5 Evil Separation Technique, they would not be surprised. However, Ning Fan actually used a strange golden-purple wind and mist to break the 3 layers of the formation. It really made these old monsters feel a little incredulous. Ning Fan took a deep breath. He knew that with his current strength, he still could not fight against so many Void Fragmentation Realm old monsters. He shook his cauldron ring. With a flash of light, a gigantic purple-eyed peacock slowly appeared under Ning Fan's feet. It was none other than the Purple Eyes Evil Separation Technique. He flicked his sleeve again and 600 Void Inquiry Stage spiritual puppets that were standing in midair immediately appeared in the sky. Teng Xianro and the 5 evil spirits of the heavenly tribulation appeared one after another. Emperor Xia's sword then appeared in Ning Fan's right hand. Zili, go and kill those few people. Leave the rest to me. Ning Fan leaped down from Evil Separation Technique's head and pointed his sword at Old Monster Tianqian and the 4 Devil Elders. Shriek. The Purple Eyes Evil Separation Technique chirped obediently. She flapped her wings and a strong demonic wind blew away all the cultivators who were blocking her way. She dashed straight into the battle between Old Monster Tianqian and the 4 Devil Elders. Tianqian and the 4 Devil Elders immediately reacted as if they were facing a formidable enemy. Tianqian and the others knew that this evil separation technique was most likely the culprit who killed the Vine Sovereign. Even though the outside world had heard rumors that Ning Fan had killed the Vine Sovereign, They also knew that Ning Fan relied on the 5 evil separation technique to kill the Vine Sovereign. The strength of Ning Fan's true body had yet to reach the void fragmentation realm. It was far from enough to fight against the Vine Sovereign. However, the strength of the 5 evil separation technique was not even comparable to an ordinary 6 evil separation technique cultivator. If everyone can help me subdue this evil separation technique, I will definitely reward you handsomely. Old Monster Tian Qian laughed heartily. His attitude towards capturing and devouring this evil separation technique was firm. All right. The 4 devil elders agreed without hesitation. They did not go to kill Ning Fan. Killing the evil separation technique was their priority. The 600 Void Inquiry stage spiritual puppets went on a frenzied killing spree among the Divine Transformation Realm and Void Refinement Realm cultivators. Teng Xianrou and the Heavenly Tribulation 5 Evil Separation Technique cultivators fought against the 8 Evil Separation Technique cultivators. Relying on the strength of the 5 Evil Separation Technique cultivators, they were actually on par with each other. Ning Fan was dressed in black robes. His black hair danced wildly in the wind. Holding Emperor Xia's sword in his hand, he dashed towards the 4 Evil Separation Technique cultivators. Among the 4 evil separation technique cultivators, 3 of them were cultivators of the 3 Worlds sect, and 1 of them was a cultivator of the Nirvana Palace. The cultivator of the Nirvana Palace, who was at the 2nd heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm, was called Yen Sovereign. Even though his cultivation level was not as high as the 4 devil elders of the Nirvana Palace, his innate potential was much higher than theirs. This person had already cultivated a trace of sovereign qi when he was at the Void Fragmentation Realm. After that, he was heavily nurtured by the Nirvana Palace. This person had a nephew whose name was Dao Yen. He was the devil general who was sent to assassinate Ning Fan in the past. Emperor Yen had already learned from Moksha Sovereign that Ning Fan was probably the one who killed Dao Yen. When Emperor Yen saw Ning Fan charging at him with a sword in his hand, killing intent flashed across his eyes. In a flash, he left the 3 Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators of the 3 Worlds sect and raised his palm to strike at Ning Fan from afar. No one is allowed to interfere. I want to kill this brat myself. It doesn't matter. We don't need to do anything at all. With Emperor Yan's help, this brat will die for sure. The 3 Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators of the 3 Worlds sect looked at Ning Fan with disdain. What they were afraid of was the 5 evil separation technique, not Ning Fan, who was merely a Guiyuan Taishu stage cultivator. As soon as Emperor Yen struck him with his palm, black mist immediately spread across the world passage and turned into a gigantic black turtle. It opened its gigantic mouth and swallowed Ning Fan into its abdomen. As soon as he was swallowed by the gigantic turtle, Ning Fan immediately lost control of his mind and fell into layers of illusions. However, when Ning Fan punched his chest and blood trickled out from the corner of his mouth, those illusions immediately dissipated. For a ruthless and decisive cultivator with a heart of stone, illusions were nothing to be afraid of. When Sovereign Yen saw that his illusion technique was broken, he let out a cold harumph. He patted his storage pouch and prepared to use his natal magic treasure to attack Ning Fan. Ning Fan, however, did not give the Yen Sovereign the chance to do so. He raised his hand and summoned a silver lightning bead. It was a crystalline pearl with a dragon-shaped bolt of silver lightning sealed within it. As soon as it rose into the air, it immediately transformed into a flash of silver light that struck toward Emperor Yan's chest. Sovereign Yen harumphed coldly. It did not pay much attention to this small silver bead. It only knew that it was a mortal void magic treasure. The expressions of the 3 Void Fragmentation Realm experts of the 3 Worlds sect greatly changed. They recognized that silver pearl. This was a secret magical treasure of the 3 Realms sect. It was called the Thunder Pulse, and only the sect leader knew how to make it. Each Thundershock seed could only be used once. Once it was used, even a cultivator at the 2nd heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm could be killed instantly. The 3 of them wanted to help Emperor Yen, but they didn't dare to help Emperor Yen block Lei Jinzi, so they could only warn him anxiously. Emperor Yen, watch out. That Thunder Pearl was powerful. Retreat quickly. What did you say? Emperor Yen had just taken out a red brush magic treasure. Before he could display his ability, he heard the warning of the 3 void fragmentation realm experts and asked in confusion. Before he could finish his question, that Lei Jinzi had already reached a distance of 100 zhang away, giving off destructive lightning might. It was only at this moment that Emperor Yen sensed the danger of certain death from the Lei Jinzi. In great shock, he quickly summoned his red brush magic treasure and retreated. That red brush magic treasure was also considered as a rather impressive magic treasure. However, it was actually turned into dust after being struck by the Lei Jinzi. What kind of pearl is this? Its power is actually so terrifying. Emperor Yen used a void teleportation and directly escaped 2 million li away. However, that Lei Jinzi traveled across the distance of 2 million li in the blink of an eye and exploded on Emperor Yan's chest. The treasured pearl was shattered and the lightning dragon exploded. Emperor Yen was immediately engulfed by a sea of lightning. He let out a miserable shriek and died within the sea of lightning. As soon as Emperor Yen died, Ning Fan approached them with his sword. He raised his hand and summoned another 3 silver lightning pearls, attacking the 3 void fragmentation realm experts of the 3-world sect. Having learned their lesson from what happened to Emperor Yen, how would the 3 of them dare to resist the lightning pearls? While summoning their defensive magic treasures, they retreated in different directions. Why does this young man have so many Lei Jinzi? The 3 of them were terrified. They did not have much confidence in blocking the Lei Jinzi. Lei Jinzi was too famous. He could even kill a 2nd void fragmentation realm cultivator in an instant. From their point of view, even if they use all their magic treasures, they might not necessarily be able to block the destructive power of the Lei Jinzi. However, what they did not expect was that their defensive magic treasures easily blocked the attacks of the 3 lightning pearls without any effort. It's fake. This isn't the Lei Jinzi. The 3 old monsters were a little angry from embarrassment. They were deceived by Ning Fan. The 3 lightning pearls that he shot out this time were not Lei Jinzi. They were just ordinary pearls that contained some lightning power. The 3 dignified 2nd heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old monsters were actually frightened by 3 ordinary pearls and fled in panic. It could be said that they had lost all their dignity. Just as the 3 of them were about to kill Ning Fan to vent their anger, they suddenly realized that Ning Fan had already disappeared without a trace. They focused on defending against the fake Lei Jinzi. Thus, they naturally did not notice that Ning Fan had immediately used the flowing light ring to conceal himself after summoning the 3 fake Lei Jinzi. The flowing light ring was a mid-grade profound divinity spiritual equipment that could make one invisible. Once the owner of this item becomes invisible, even a 5th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm cultivator would not be able to detect where he is hiding. Before the 3 of them could find Ning Fan's whereabouts, a ray of light suddenly flashed behind one of them and the figure of a young man in black robes appeared. The young man held the golden sword in his hand. Without saying a word, he directly swung the sword at the old monster's head. With just a single slash, the old monster was split into 2 halves. With a flick of the sword light, the primordial spirit of the old monster was picked out and swallowed into his stomach. Then he took away his storage pouch. There are 2 left. Ning Fan took a step forward and concealed himself again. The 2 void fragmentation realm old monsters immediately felt their scalps go numb. Ning Fan had already used all his trump cards in just a single encounter and killed 2 void fragmentation realm old monsters in a row. It was really a little scary. At this moment, if they still treat Ning Fan as an ant of the absolute void stage, they would really have lived for tens of thousands of years in vain. The 2 of them gathered together and no longer dared to take even half a step away from each other. One of them held a magic treasure to defend against Ning Fan's sudden attacks. The other one displayed a secret technique to break Ning Fan's invisibility, trying to break his concealment. Just as the 2 of them were carefully searching for Ning Fan's whereabouts, they suddenly heard a miserable scream coming from the battle of the void fragmentation realm. Ning Fan suddenly appeared in the battle of the void fragmentation realm cultivators. He raised his hand and swung his sword, killing an old monster of the Nirvana Palace who was at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm and devouring his primordial spirit. The third one. Ning Fan's magic power was much stronger than before. He had only used 1/3 of his magic power to make 2 consecutive slashes. He raised his hand and summoned the Emperor's Xia sword. Then he activated the flying sword technique, causing the sword to split into 3 golden sword shadows and swept across the sky. Immediately, he took the lives of 3 void fragmentation realm cultivators. The 6th one. Ning Fan had already used up more than half of his magic power to kill 6 void fragmentation realm cultivators in a row. The remaining 5 void fragmentation realm old monsters looked at Ning Fan as if they were looking at a ghost. Their eyes were filled with fear. Who would have thought that Ning Fan would be able to kill 6 void fragmentation realm old monsters in a short period of time even without Nieli's help? However, even after killing 6 of them, the uneasiness in Ning Fan's heart did not reduce at all. Not only did it not reduce, but it was also increasing rapidly. When that uneasiness reached its peak, a gigantic door of light suddenly appeared in the sky. 2 figures slowly walked out of the door. One of them was a middle-aged man in black armor, while the other one was an elderly man in golden robes. Without a doubt, the middle-aged man in black armor was Moksha Sovereign, while the elderly man in golden robes was the sect master of the 3 worlds. The 2 of them were not slow in showing themselves. However, when they saw the situation of the battlefield and realized that 6 void fragmentation realm cultivators on their side had already died, their expressions turned grim. Han Yedian. The moment Ning Fan saw the middle-aged man in black armor, the killing intent in his eyes intensified. Seeing the killing intent in Ning Fan's eyes, Moksha Sovereign made up his mind to kill Ning Fan today even though he did not say it out loud. Let's act according to the original plan. Sect Master will kill Nieli while I will kill Ning Fan. Moksha Sovereign said coldly. Alright. Spatial Vortex Technique. The Sect Master of the 3 worlds waved his hand. A gigantic golden vortex suddenly appeared on the world passage, sucking Ning Fan and Moksha Sovereign into it. Not good. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. At this moment, he was not worried about himself but Nieli and Ting Shinro who were in the outside world. Chapter 611. The Spatial Vortex Technique was the proud technique of the past sect masters of the 3 worlds. It directly sealed Ning Fan and Moksha Sovereign into a golden world. The reason why Moksha Sovereign was sealed inside it was just to give Moksha Sovereign a chance to kill Ning Fan personally. In the golden world, Ning Fan and Moksha Sovereign were facing each other on a golden continent. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with unimaginable coldness. His enemy was right in front of him, and that was the motivation for him to fight day and night. Moksha Sovereign's figure, which was once unreachable, had always been Ning Fan's goal and imaginary enemy. He raised Emperor Xia's sword and pointed it at Moksha Emperor. His killing intent had already reached its peak. However, a moment later, his gaze towards Moksha Emperor suddenly revealed a hint of disappointment. Is it just a divine clone? Ning Fan gradually realized that the Moksha Sovereign in front of him was not his true body. Instead, it was an existence similar to his clone. Oh, your eyesight isn't bad, but this isn't my avatar, it's one of the 3 Nirvana bodies. All 3 bodies are the Emperor, and there is no distinction between them. Only when all 3 bodies are destroyed will the Emperor fall. This is my current body. Moksha Sovereign squinted his eyes, emitting a dangerous aura. 3 Nirvanic bodies. My current body. Only when all 3 of my bodies are destroyed will I fall. Ning Fan's eyes glinted with cold light again and said indifferently. In other words, killing this body of yours isn't a useless move. Instead, it's very meaningful, right? Haha. Moksha Sovereign laughed out loud as if he had heard something funny. He cultivated the Nirvana Devil Veins and cultivated 3 Nirvana bodies. If all 3 bodies died, he would truly die. This body was one of the 3. If it died, it would never be able to recover. If all 3 bodies were destroyed, Moksha Sovereign's existence would be erased. If Ning Fan could kill his current body, It would certainly cause him great harm. Unfortunately, Moksha Sovereign did not think that Ning Fan had the ability to do so at all. A mere Guyuan Taishu, no matter how heaven-defying he was, would not be a match for him. Ning Fan, I'm really surprised. It has only been 50 years or so and you've actually managed to reach this stage. Just what kind of heavenly treasure did Han Yuanji leave behind for you to allow you to cultivate so quickly? This emperor is really envious. Han Yuanji is still so biased. Moksha Sovereign's idea seemed reasonable, but in reality, it was ridiculous. In his opinion, Ning Fan's fast cultivation speed was naturally because of the old monster's all-out help. Unbeknownst to him, the old monster had never given Ning Fan's any help. He didn't teach Ning Fan's profound techniques, nor did he give Ning Fan's high-rank Dao fruits or pills. He only did one thing, and that was to teach Ning Fan's the true evil Dao. When Ning Fan heard Moksha Sovereign mentioning his master, his eyes turned cold. He did not want to talk to Moksha Sovereign anymore. His biggest regret today was that the 3 bodies of Moksha Sovereign were not complete. Otherwise, he would have died here. No matter what, Moksha Sovereign was one of his 3 bodies. Ning Fan would certainly make one of them die here. Moksha Sovereign's eyes turned cold. With a sway of his body, he transformed into a 10,000 feet tall black-armored giant. It was exactly the appearance he had when he descended to Yu country. The black-armored giant raised his finger and sneered, "Junior, if you didn't possess the sword chi gifted by the godly Void Pavilion back then, do you think you could hurt this emperor? You are just an ant." Void technique, white bone finger. The black-armored giant pointed his finger. Devil flames soared into the sky, condensing into a burning white bone finger that stretched for 100 li. In the past, Ning Fan had used the sword ancestor's sword chi to break this finger. At that time, he could not even withstand the chi of this finger. Even now, he still could not completely resist the destructive power of this finger. However, it was absolutely impossible for him to yield to this finger. This white bone finger was born from fire. The only thing that Ning Fan could think of to break this fire was the steel of sun and moon. He kept Emperor Xia's sword and activated the yin-yang locket. Then, he raised his hand and summoned the shadow of a giant steel. The shadow of the steel divided into 10 and then into 100. In an instant, it turned into a giant shadow of the sun and moon. It rose up against the heavens and collided with the giant white bone finger. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base, it was difficult for him to withstand the attack of the 5 sovereigns. However, by relying on the steel of sun and moon's ability to restrain fire and his current second heavenly layer void fragmentation realm magic power, he was able to withstand the attack of Moksha Sovereign's fire finger. Under the bombardment of the sun and moon, the white bone fire finger gradually extinguished and eventually disappeared without a trace. Moksha Sovereign's eyes turned gloomy. He would not be mistaken. Ning Fan had accurately blocked his attack with his own ability. He has yet to attain the void fragmentation realm, but he managed to block my attack. Han Yuanji is really biased. He actually imparted such a powerful fire restraining ability to him instead of me. Moksha Sovereign's killing intent intensified as jealousy rose in his heart. He bit his finger bone and summoned 100,000 gold core realm devil soldiers with a wave of his finger. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with disdain. He also bit his finger bone and summoned 6 million devil soldiers with a wave of his finger. The devil soldiers of both parties engaged in a fierce battle. In just an instant, Ning Fan's devil soldiers annihilated all of the 100,000 devil soldiers summoned by Moksha Sovereign. How is this possible? Not only have you mastered the weapon refining technique of crushing bones, but you can also use this technique to such a perfect level. It must be Han Yuanji who taught you this technique. It must be him. Moksha Sovereign was indeed hopeless. In his eyes, the White Devil sect and the Black Devil sect were the strongest forces, while the Old Devil and the sect master of the White Devil sect were peerless experts. Their abilities were the strongest magic techniques in the world. Moksha Sovereign, on the other hand, did not know that Ning Fan's steel technique of sun and moon was the divine ability of Great Emperor Ancient Chaos. As for the weapon transformation technique, he learned it from Immortal Emperor Mo Zhong. The old monster had never been biased towards Ning Fan. It was Moksha Sovereign himself who couldn't figure it out. Moksha Sovereign's expression turned even colder. This time, he was going to be serious. He wouldn't go easy on Qin Wenyan anymore. He exited his giant form and turned back into the black-clothed middle-aged man. He bent his palm, and wisps of extremely strange gray gas immediately appeared in the center of his palm, swirling around it. With every rotation of the gray gas, the surrounding air became colder. This was an ice supernatural ability that came from the White Demon sect. Its name was the revolving wheel technique. The gray energy rotated, it could reflect all attacks, and it had the power to tear apart the 5 emperors. This is the revolving wheel technique. It has a total of 18 levels, and I have already cultivated it to the 14th level. The 6-wheel art could instantly kill 3, the 9-wheel art could instantly kill 4, and the 12-wheel art could instantly kill 5. You can't take this art. Yes, I can't take it. Ning Fan didn't show any dispirited expression. If he couldn't take it, then he couldn't. This was one of Moksha Sovereign's strongest abilities. Naturally, it was very powerful. Ning Fan didn't have the same cultivation level as Moksha Sovereign yet, so it wasn't strange that he couldn't take it. However, it didn't mean that no one could. If the righteous path couldn't be taken, then it would be taken. If the tough path couldn't be taken, then it would be soft. If the young path couldn't be taken, then it would be Een. What this old man imparted to Ning Fan wasn't the Tao of cultivation, but the Tao of devil. As a devil cultivator, even if his cultivation level was lower than others, he might not necessarily lose. 12-wheel art. Moksha Sovereign pointed his finger. Countless wisps of gray chi coiled towards Ning Fan like dragons. With a radius of 10,000 zhang. They revolved violently around Ning Fan, forming gray rings that trapped Ning Fan within. A total of 12 gray rings trapped Ning Fan within. The tearing wind formed by the 12 gray rings was enough to tear Ning Fan into pieces. Within 3 breaths, you will die without a doubt. You are just an ant after all. Moksha Sovereign laughed heartily, feeling very pleased. However, Ning Fan didn't die. He pressed his palm on the devil's sealing pouch and his eyes gradually became resolute. A rogue devil can only be used 3 times. Today is the first time. Devil appear. He opened the devil's sealing pouch and a monstrous devil mist immediately soared into the sky. Under this devil mist, even a devil sovereign like Moksha Sovereign felt his heart palpitate. As soon as the devil creature was released, it immediately turned into the appearance of a giant with 2 horns. Without saying a word, it threw 3 consecutive punches. The first punch shattered Moksha Sovereign's 12 layers of revolving wheels. The second punch directly turned Moksha Sovereign's current body into dust. The third punch shattered all the seals of the entire golden world. Rogue devil? Impossible! Moksha Sovereign's eyes widened. He couldn't believe that his physical body would be smashed into pieces. He couldn't believe that a mere ant like Ning Fan could actually subdue a rogue devil to help him. If he knew that Ning Fan had this rogue devil to protect him, he definitely wouldn't have recklessly sent it to chase after Ning Fan. A trace of black primordial spirit escaped from Ning Fan's physical body, desperately fleeing towards the outside of the golden world. How could Ning Fan let this primordial spirit escape? He ordered the rogue devil coldly. Capture it. Yes. The rogue devil answered reluctantly. With a flash of traveling light, he reached out his hand and caught Moksha Sovereign's primordial spirit, handing it over to Ning Fan. Ning Fan glanced at Moksha Sovereign's primordial spirit coldly and sealed it. Then he kept it in his storage pouch. He was prepared to slowly search his soul and memory later. I'm a little worried about Zili and Ro Air. I'm going to save them now. Ning Fan leaped onto the rogue devil's shoulder and commanded him to walk towards the outside of the golden world with huge strides. One of Moksha Sovereign's 3 bodies was already dead. The 3 Realms sect was still his enemy today. Ning Fan had already made up his mind. All the enemies who came to invade today must die on this world passage. In the outside world, time was rewound a little. After sealing Ning Fan, the sect masters of the 3 realms scanned across the battlefield of the world passage and snorted coldly. The divine transformation realm cultivators they sent this time were almost all dead. The void refinement realm cultivators also suffered heavy losses. 30 to 40 of them had already died. The sect masters of the three realms glanced at the battlefield of the low-grade cultivators and frowned slightly. Ning Fan's 600 Void Inquiry stage spiritual puppets are really brave and good at fighting. Compared to these spiritual puppets, the Divine Transformation Realm and Void Refinement Realm cultivators of the Nirvana Palace and the Three Realms sect were really vulnerable. With 600 Void Inquiry stage spiritual puppets leading the way, perhaps even an ordinary First Destruction Realm cultivator would not dare to face them head-on. Suppress. The sect master of the Three Realms flicked his sleeve. Countless golden characters flew out from his sleeve and landed on each of the Void Inquiry stage spiritual puppets. As soon as the golden characters hit the spiritual puppets, they immediately melted inside their bodies and sealed their magic power. In an instant, all 600 Void Inquiry stage spiritual puppets were sealed by the sect master of the Three Realms and kept away with a flick of his sleeve. The sect master of the Three Realms glanced at Ting Xianro and let out a cold snort. He did not put her in his eyes at all. When his gaze swept across the 5 puppets of the heavenly tribulation, he revealed a surprised expression. These are the puppets of the heavenly tribulation? That young man in plain robes is really an arrogant person. He even dares to capture the puppets of the heavenly tribulation. The sect master of the Three Realms chuckled. His eyes flashed with a hint of cold light. He raised his hand and sent out countless golden characters towards the 5 puppets of the heavenly tribulation. The power of the golden characters was extremely powerful. Even with the strength of the 5 puppets of the heavenly tribulation, they could not resist the power of the golden characters at all. Their power was directly sealed and they could not move at all. The sect master flicked his sleeve and kept all the 5 puppets of the heavenly tribulation. His eyes finally fell on Ting Xianro. You are my disciple's subordinate. So, you are also my subordinate. Betraying my disciple is the same as betraying me. His gaze shifted to Nieli and the coldness in his eyes became even colder. You are just an evil creature, but your cultivation base is not weak. I will take you in and make you my mount. The sect master of the Three Realms clapped his hands. His magic power condensed into a gigantic golden palm and slammed down on the purple-eyed Nieli. The purple-eyed Nieli was fighting against Tianqin and the others. When she saw the sect master of the Three Realms sneak attacking her all of a sudden, she was slightly angered. She spread her wings and a giant shadow of half of the Fu Li spirit wheel immediately appeared in the sky above the passage. The spirit wheel produced a boundless suction force and sucked the golden palm imprint into the ring shadow. Soon after, the golden palm imprint exploded within the ring shadow of the spirit wheel, shattering the ring shadow. The purple-eyed Fu Li screeched in pain. She suddenly realized that the sect master of the Three Realms was not easy to deal with. The sect master of the Three Realms was also slightly surprised. He was an old monster at the 8th heavenly layer of the Void Fragmentation Realm. However, he actually could not defeat a mere demon beast with just a single palm imprint. You are not weak, but that's all there is to it. Void Technique, Flowing Gold Barrier. The sect master of the Three Realms pointed his finger. Golden light flowed above the sky and condensed into a gigantic golden barrier, trapping the purple-eyed Nieli within. After being trapped within the golden barrier, the purple-eyed Nieli desperately tried to break it, but it was difficult for her to break it. She looked anxious. She wanted to break the golden barrier and find Ning Fan, who was sucked into the whirlpool, to save him. However, no matter how hard she struggled, she could not escape from the golden barrier. Shriek. The purple-eyed Nieli let out a sharp cry of anger. The sect master of the Three Realms showed a hint of impatience. He pointed his finger at the flowing gold barrier and said coldly, "If you make any more noise, I will kill you, beast." As he pointed his finger, countless golden runes immediately appeared on the flowing gold barrier and hit the purple-eyed Nieli's body. Immediately, the purple-eyed Nieli let out a painful shriek. Ting Xianro bit her lips. Her heart was struggling. The sect master of the three realms first pointed out her crimes but did not punish her. Instead, he punished the Nieli first. He was giving her a chance. Teng Xianro was the subordinate of the Vine Sovereign. She had more or less heard some rumors about the sect master of the three realms. It was said that the sect master of the three realms cultivated some kind of unique dual cultivation technique. He especially liked to pluck human cauldrons. Moreover, most of the human cauldrons that he plucked had died. Only a small number of women who consumed a secret life-saving medicine could survive. The cultivation technique of the sect master of the three realms was very unique. It required the women to cooperate with him willingly in order to achieve the greatest effect. Of course, forcefully plucking the human cauldrons also had great benefits. Teng Xianro was a woman. She was a void fragmentation realm woman. The reason why the sect master of the three realms did not punish Teng Xianro was because he wanted to give her a chance. As long as she offered herself to be his human cauldron, he would let her go. Teng Xianro did not want to die. She had personally witnessed the sect master of the three realms subduing the Nieli and sealing the group of demons with a wave of his hand. She knew that with her current strength, she could not even destroy a piece of his sleeve. If she goes against the sect master of the three realms, she would certainly die. If she agrees to become his human cauldron, she could still live for a few more days. If she is given a secret medicine, she might not die after being plucked. But, are you unwilling? The sect master's tone suddenly became cold. Teng Xianro bit her lips so hard that it bled. However, she did not beg for mercy in the end. Only then did she realize that there were some things that she could not compromise and submit to if she was unwilling to do so. She pondered for a while. If the person who threatened her was Ning Fan, would she agree to become his human cauldron? Perhaps she would. Thinking of Ning Fan, Teng Xianro's heart suddenly became chaotic. Today, the sect master of the three realms had come personally. Ning Fan had already been sealed in the spatial vortex technique. It was very likely that he would not be able to escape death. Will he die? When she thought of this possibility, her heart suddenly felt as if it was being torn apart. It was so painful that she could not breathe. Her thoughts became more and more chaotic. In the past, she was worried that Ning Fan would die because she who was implanted with the slave imprint would die together with him. Today, she just could not bear to hear the news of Ning Fan's death. He will die. If that is the case, I will die eventually. Why should I beg for mercy? Teng Xianro's heart suddenly calmed down. She no longer said anything and used her silence to reject the sect master's suggestion. The sect master's eyes turned gloomy. He had never thought that Teng Xianro would dare to reject his good intention. He had the purple sun physique, which was one of the 7 sun physiques. This was the reason why he needed Duyu. Duyu had the scarlet sun physique, which was very useful to him. If the women he plucked did not consume any precious secret medicine, all of them would die. At first, he thought that Teng Xianro had some beauty and wanted to give her a secret medicine to keep her alive so that he could slowly pluck her. Now that Teng Xianro was so stubborn, the sect master was inwardly furious. He decided to use the crudest method to capture her and pluck her directly. It was her fate to die. I will count to 3. If you don't obey me, you will definitely regret it. 1, 2. Before he could count to 3, a giant devil with 2 horns suddenly stepped on the golden vortex spatial technique and reappeared on the world passage. There was a black-robed young man standing on the shoulder of the devil. As soon as he appeared, he immediately rolled up his sleeves and wrapped Teng Xianro onto the giant's shoulder. Without saying anything, the giant devil raised his fist and punched at the sect master of the 3 realms. As soon as the punch was thrown, countless void vortexes were formed. Wherever the fist light passed, the cultivators of the Nirvana Hall and the 3 realms sect were all crushed into pieces. Rogue devil. Before the sect master of the 3 realms could react, his chest was already hit by the devil's punch. His spirit equipment and treasure armor were all shattered. He was forced to retreat 1,000 steps in the sky before he managed to stabilize himself. However, he was already coughing out blood. He stared at the giant devil in front of him in horror. This was a rogue devil. a rogue devil that had once cultivated to the void fragmentation realm and above. Even though it was unknown why this rogue devil's cultivation base had dropped to the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, it could even put up a fight against an ordinary 9th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm expert. The sect master of the 3 realms knew that he was definitely not a match for this rogue devil. His gaze shifted to Ning Fan, who was standing on the devil's shoulder. His heart skipped a beat. Could it be that this rogue devil was summoned by Ning Fan? This rogue devil came out from the sealed space of the spatial vortex spatial technique. Could it be that this rogue devil is related to Moksha Sovereign? Speaking of which, where did Moksha Sovereign go? Could he be dead? How could the sect master of the 3 realms know that this rogue devil was Ning Fan's puppet who had been subdued by him? In the sect master's impression, those who have attained the rogue devil realm were either old monsters who were infamous in the devil world or people from the upper world. In any case, it was impossible for them to be ordinary people. Subduing a rogue devil as a slave in the great void of the lower world was like a fantasy. It was impossible for it to happen. Friend, I'm the sect master of the 3 realms sect in the heaven immortal world. Today's matter is a personal grudge between my sect and someone else. I hope that you won't interfere in this matter for the sake of my sect. If you leave now. Before the sect master of the 3 realms could finish his words, the rogue devil threw a second punch at him, sending him flying away. This time, the sect master of the 3 realms reacted quickly. He took out a magic treasure to protect himself, but he was still injured by the rogue devil's punch. He was burning with anger. Even if you are an elder figure in the devil world or a devil cultivator from the upper world, I will make you pay for hurting me today. Do you know that I also have a few rogue immortal friends in the heaven immortal world? Get lost. The rogue devil threw a third punch, sending the sect master of the 3 realms flying for the 3rd time. In terms of strength, the rogue devil was much stronger than the sect master of the 3 realms. The rogue devil threw a 4th punch, shattering the flowing gold barrier that was sealing Nieli and releasing him. Ning Fan looked around. When he saw that Nieli's injuries were not light and Ting Xianro was almost in danger, his heart was filled with rage. When he saw that all the puppets were gone, he knew that they must have been taken away by the sect master of the 3 realms. Here, come back and rest. Ro-air, you come back too. Ning Fan kept Ting Xianro and Nieli back. His eyes swept across the entire place like cold lightning, and he gave an order to the rogue devil. Leave no one alive. All the enemies who came to invade today must die. The eyelids of the sect master of the 3 realms twitched. He no longer had the arrogant demeanor he had before. He knew that he was not a match for the rogue devil. The only thing he could do now was to retreat from this place. He patted his storage pouch and took out a jade slip. He lifted his hand and crushed it. Immediately, a light gate appeared in the passage of the world. The sect master of the 3 realms stepped into it without hesitation, trying to escape. You want to leave? Can you? Did I say that you can? The rogue devil was furious and shattered the realm gate with a punch. The realm gate collapsed. The sect master of the 3 realms fell out while coughing out blood. He was shocked. This rogue devil is really powerful. He can even destroy the realm gate. With the interference of this rogue devil, none of us can open the realm gate and escape today. Cultivators of the Nirvana Hall and the 3 realms sect, listen to my command. Attack this devil together with me. The moment the sect master of the 3 realms sect uttered those words, he immediately regretted it. The rogue devil made a grabbing motion with his huge hand. Countless black devil chains shot out from his palm. They divided into billions of chains and pierced into the bodies of the cultivators of the Nirvana Hall and the 3 realms sect, instantly sucking them dry. Divine Transformation Realm and Void Refinement Realm cultivators were instantly killed. First Heavenly Layer and Second Heavenly Layer Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators were all killed instantly. Even though the 4 devil elders of the Nirvana Hall were not killed instantly, they were skewered like roasted meat by the rogue devil. Then, they were sealed by the devil chains and handed over to Ning Fan. Old Monster Tian Hao's face turned green with fear. He had never seen such a powerful devil creature before. He turned around and tried to run, but his chest was penetrated by the devil chains. After being sealed, he was handed over to Ning Fan. All the cultivators on the battlefield were annihilated by the rogue devil in just a single encounter. Not good. I'm far from being a match for this devil. Run now. The sect master of the Three Realms sect took out an ancient purple shuttle and leaped onto it. Go after him. As soon as Ning Fan gave the order, the rogue devil burst into laughter and immediately chased after them with huge strides. The speed of the sect master of the Three Realms sect was not slow, but it was much slower than the rogue devil. Seeing that the rogue devil was chasing after them closely and obeying Ning Fan's orders obediently, the sect master of the Three Realms sect's heart sank. He thought to himself, could this rogue devil be Ning Fan's servant, or something that only listens to Ning Fan's orders? He gritted his teeth and removed the storage pouch that contained the 600 Void Inquiry stage spiritual puppets and the 5 puppets of the Heavenly Tribulation. Then, he tossed it to the back and returned it to Ning Fan. Little friend Ning, I have returned all the spiritual puppets that I have seized from you. Please give me a chance to live. Don't chase after me anymore. If you push me too far, you will surely regret it. Ning Fan looked at the storage pouch that was flying towards him. He did not reach out to catch it but let the rogue devil catch it instead. His eyes flashed with coldness. He could tell that the storage pouch had been tampered with. The rogue devil bent his palm and caught the storage pouch. Immediately, some of the golden characters hidden on the pouch struck the rogue devil's palm. Even though the rogue devil's physical body was strong, it still left many bloody marks on his palm. You're courting death. The rogue devil was enraged and chased after Ning Fan even faster. Ning Fan kept the storage pouch and all the spiritual puppets. Then he stared coldly at the fleeing back of the sect master of the Three Realms. Indeed, one must not be careless when dealing with such an old monster. However, no matter what, the sect master of the Three Realms must die. He must not let him go back to the heaven immortal world. Why is he still chasing after me? The sect master of the Three Realms turned around and saw that the golden characters on the storage pouch did not hurt Ning Fan at all. His eyes immediately turned grim. When he saw the furious expression on the rogue devil's face, he felt his scalp go numb. He took out a piece of golden sandalwood from his sleeve and his eyes turned gloomy. It seems like I won't be able to escape without paying a price. The sect master of the Three Realms took out a handful of thundershock stones from his storage pouch and threw them to the back. He did not care whether they hit Ning Fan or not. While the dust was rising from the back, the sect master of the Three Realms ignited a wisp of purple flames between his fingers, trying to ignite the golden sandalwood. The pained expression on his face was definitely not an act. This is the ancient divine incense. Once the golden incense is ignited, it will be extremely lethal to devil cultivators. It has a heaven-defying nourishing effect to profound cultivators. This item is extremely precious. It is a necessary item for my sect to break through to the next realm. Now, I might have to use it to eliminate the 2 devils behind me. The rogue devil is a devil and that Ning Fan is also a devil cultivator. Once this incense is ignited, the rogue devil will definitely be injured and that Ning Fan will definitely die. Burn. Chapter 6:12. Half of the golden sandalwood incense was suddenly ignited. Almost 1/10 of it had been burned. A wisp of golden fragrant mist immediately spread across the world passage, forming a golden smoke screen. As soon as the sect master of the Three Realms smelled the mist, his eyes flashed with rays of light. His speed instantly increased by 30%. He was a cultivator of the profound gate. To him, this ancient divine incense was a great supplement that was hard to come by. The golden smoke screen continued to spread to the back, drifting towards the rogue devil and Ning Fan. As soon as the rogue devil smelled the smoke, the devil chi around his body began to melt. The wisps of golden smoke seemed to be extremely corrosive. Being inside the golden smoke screen, the rogue devil's gigantic body began to melt into golden liquid bit by bit. As more and more fragrant mist seeped into the rogue devil's body, His chi began to show signs of declining and his speed began to decrease rapidly. What kind of bird fragrance is this? The rogue devil was shocked. The fragrant mist also seeped into Ning Fan's body, trying to melt all the devil chi in his body. Ning Fan was secretly shocked. This fragrant mist is really domineering. It's actually a treasure that specializes in restraining devil cultivators. When his devil chi was being suppressed, the ancient divine blood in his body began to boil. His aura force did not decrease but increased instead. Ning Fan felt a warm current flowing out of his chest, producing a mysterious power that devoured the sandalwood mist in his body. At this moment, the ancient divine blood in his body circulated on its own, devouring the golden sandalwood mist wantonly. Every time he devoured a wisp of the mist, his magic power would increase tremendously. Every time he devoured a wisp of the mist, some light spots would appear on his glabella, slowly forming the fourth divine star. He narrowed his eyes and immediately realized that the strange sandalwood incense that the sect master of the three realms ignited was a poisonous item to devil cultivators. It could cause great damage to them. However, to profound cultivators, it was a supreme treasure that could increase their cultivation base. The stronger the divine bloodline, the greater the benefits one would get from absorbing the fragrant mist. With Ning Fan's divine king bloodline, his magic power had increased by half a yuan after just absorbing a wisp of the fragrant mist. If he could devour the entire golden sandalwood incense, his magic power would certainly increase tremendously. Ning Fan's gaze shifted to the rogue devil. When he saw that the golden sandalwood incense had injured him and his cultivation base was about to drop, he immediately crouched down and placed his palm on the rogue devil's shoulder. His palm seemed to have formed a vortex, sucking out all of the fragrant mist from the rogue devil's body. As the golden fragrant mist left his body, the chi of the rogue devil gradually returned to normal. He gave Ning Fan a complicated look without saying anything. Ning Fan rose to his feet and opened his mouth, sucking in all of the fragrant mist into his stomach. Then he activated the divine blood in his divine aperture and frantically refined this fragrant mist. His royal divine blood seemed to be boiling, and his physical body seemed to be on the verge of burning. After inhaling all the fragrant mist in the air, his physical body swelled up like a balloon. His body was filled with a large amount of unrefined fragrant mist. To Ning Fan, this fragrant mist was an extremely nourishing item. It contained nearly 2,000 yuan hui of magic power. If he could completely refine the fragrant mist in his body, coupled with the divine ability of the ancient god's divine aperture, his magic power would increase by 4,000 yuan. If the sect master of the three realms were to absorb all of the fragrant mist, he would only be able to increase his magic power by 500 yuan at most. After all, the divine bloodline of the sect master of the three realms was far inferior to Ning Fan's. Besides, he was not an ancient god who had yet to open his divine aperture. Such a large amount of fragrant mist was not something that could be refined in a short period of time. Ning Fan formed a hand seal with all 10 of his fingers and forced all the fragrant mist in his body into the heart aperture of his divine heart. Gradually, his body stopped expanding and returned to normal. In his divine heart, a fingernail-sized golden crystal slowly formed. That golden crystal was formed from 1/10 of the ancient divine fragrance mist. If Ning Fan refines it, it could increase his magic power by 4,000 yuan. Continue to chase after him. Ning Fan gave an order. The rogue devil threw a punch across the sky, creating countless void vortexes. The fist light turned into black wind that filled the sky and swept towards the sect master of the three realms. The sect master of the three realms was shocked. He raised his hand and pointed behind him. Countless golden runes flew towards the black wind. As the black wind swirled, all of the golden runes were destroyed. Then, it swept towards the sect master of the three realms. The sect master of the three realms immediately felt a sharp pain on his back. His face turned pale and he nearly fell off the purple flying shuttle. Impossible! I have already ignited 1/10 of the ancient divine incense. Why didn't it hurt the rogue devil? This incense didn't hurt the rogue devil. Perhaps it's because the rogue devil has great abilities and is not afraid of the ancient divine incense. However, what ability does he have? He's just a devil cultivator at the origin returning realm. Why didn't he get killed by the ancient divine incense? He didn't even suffer any injuries. He actually remained unscathed in the ancient divine incense mist. Could it be that the rogue devil is protecting him? Humph. So what if he's a rogue devil? This ancient divine incense is the supreme treasure of the ancient divine clan. If I have the entire ancient divine incense in my hands, I can even severely injure a life-immortal realm devil cultivator. This half of the ancient divine incense is definitely more than enough to kill a rogue devil. I'm just reluctant to use up this incense. It's not because I'm afraid of the rogue devil. Ignite. This time, the sect master of the three realms directly ignited 20% of the ancient divine incense. As soon as the sandalwood was ignited, the golden fragrant mist immediately spread across the world passage. The sect master of the three realms inhaled a huge mouthful of the fragrant mist. His speed increased as he fled for his life. This time, the density of the fragrant mist was twice as thick as before. Being in such a dense golden mist, the rogue devil found it hard to breathe. Its gigantic body began to melt again. Within the golden mist, a gigantic golden armored guard gradually appeared. It only had the left half of its body and there were 5 golden stars on its glabella. The golden armored guard's chi was comparable to that of a rogue immortal. It was extremely powerful. The golden armored guard's expression was very indifferent. He glanced at Ning Fan. As if he had sensed Ning Fan's ancient divine bloodline, he did not look at him for a second time. His gaze gradually turned fierce when it fell on the rogue devil. Suddenly, he raised his left hand and the golden mist condensed into a golden spear in his hand. He threw the spear at the rogue devil and shouted coldly, "Millions of divine incense can annihilate heavenly devils." Devil, annihilate. That golden spear was as dazzling as the sun. It carried an extremely dense ancient divine chi as if it could subdue all devils in the world. The tip of the spear was extremely fast. Before the rogue devil had a chance to dodge, it had already penetrated his chest. After being pierced by the golden spear, the rogue devil let out a blood-curdling scream. A golden hole immediately appeared on its gigantic body. Black blood flowed out from the hole and it nearly fell from the sky. Ning Fan's eyes widened. He did not expect that the golden fragrant mist could actually transform into the shadow of an ancient god. He would not be mistaken. That golden armored guard which only had half of its body was definitely the shadow of an ancient god. Even though he did not know what that ancient divine incense was, he was certain that it must be something that belonged to the ancient divine clan. This incense was specially used to subdue devils. However, to the ancient divine clan, this incense was the best item to increase their cultivation base. Refine. Ning Fan squatted down and pressed his palm on the rogue devil's shoulder. A vortex appeared on his palm and he sucked in the air. As he sucked in the air, the golden spear that penetrated the rogue devil immediately turned into fragrant mist and was absorbed by Ning Fan. Even though the spear had penetrated the rogue devil, it did not pierce the vital parts of his dantian. Even though the face of the rogue devil turned pale, its combat power did not decrease by much. After Ning Fan refined the golden spear mist into his body, he stood up and stared coldly at the shadow of the golden armored guard. There were 5 stars on the glabella of the golden armored guard. He must be a 5-star ancient god. However, the bloodline of this 5-star ancient god had only reached the true blood grade. It had yet to reach the royal grade. Ning Fan, on the other hand, was an ancient god with royal grade bloodline. This devil is my slave. You can't kill him. Back off. Ning Fan shouted coldly. His voice carried the dignity of a king god. When the golden armored guard sensed Ning Fan's vast bloodline aura force, his eyes trembled and he felt a little scared. He no longer dared to attack the rogue devil. Instead, he bowed slightly at Ning Fan and suddenly shattered his body, turning back into the fragrant mist. When Ning Fan saw this, he opened his mouth and swallowed all the fragrant mist into his stomach. Then, he forced it into his divine heart and condensed 2 golden crystals again. There were already 3 golden crystals in his body. If he refines all of them, his magic power could increase by 12,000 yuan hui. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out a bottle of 6th Revolution pills. He tossed the whole bottle into the rogue devil's mouth and ordered, "Take this pill to suppress your injuries. Then continue to chase after him." The rogue devil did not say anything. His eyes were filled with astonishment. In the past, he only knew that Ning Fan was a devil cultivator with ancestral bloodline. However, he did not know that Ning Fan also possessed the divine bloodline of a royal bloodline. He was able to scare off the golden armored guard with just the aura force of his bloodline. There is actually a cultivator who cultivates both divine and devil cultivation in this world. How terrifying, when he thought about it again. The reason why he was injured was all because of the strange fragrant mist that the sect master of the 3 realms created. All of a sudden, the killing intent in the rogue devil's eyes intensified. He hated the sect master of the 3 realms to the core. Without Ning Fan's order, the rogue devil formed hand seals with all 10 of his fingers and activated a secret technique. His body seemed to have turned into lightning and his speed immediately increased by a few times. In just a breath's time, the rogue devil was already 10,000 zhang behind the sect master of the 3 realms again. He raised his hand and threw a punch at him. "Old fool! How dare you ambush me with the demonic fragrance? I'll beat you to death!" Boom! Countless void vortexes exploded behind the sect master of the 3 realms. The sect master of the 3 realms felt a sharp pain on his back after being hit by the rogue devil's punch. He coughed out a mouthful of blood and fell off the purple flying shuttle. The rogue devil stepped on the vast sky and approached the sect master of the 3 realms. Then he threw another punch at him. The sect master of the 3 realms was shocked. His body dispersed into countless rays of golden light, dodging the rogue devil's punch and reforming his body 10,000 zhang away. He panted heavily and stared at the rogue devil with a gloomy expression. He did not expect that he could not stop the rogue devil even after lighting up 20% of the ancient divine incense. However, seeing that the rogue devil was severely injured, the sect master of the 3 realms calmed down a little. He knew that his ancient divine incense was quite effective against the rogue devil. However, what puzzled him was that Ning Fan was still unscathed even though the rogue devil was injured to this extent by the ancient divine incense. This young man is indeed a devil cultivator. However, he wasn't hurt by the ancient divine incense at all. It's really strange. Forget it. No matter how strange this young man is, if I light up all of the ancient divine incense, he will certainly die and the rogue devil will certainly be severely injured. Humph. Since I can't escape, I won't burn. This time, the sect master of the 3 realms lit up the remaining 70% of the ancient divine incense. He was reluctant to use the ancient divine incense in the first place. That was why he kept avoiding the rogue devil. Now that he had nowhere to retreat or hide, the sect master of the 3 realms naturally no longer felt distressed about using the incense. The remaining half of the golden sandalwood was ignited by the purple flames. Inch by inch, it turned into ashes and disappeared. Wisps of golden mist quickly spread across the sky. In just an instant, it had sealed off the sky within 8 million li. The sect master of the 3 realms sneered. His 10 fingers formed a series of hand seals. Within the mist, the shadows of 3 golden armored guards slowly appeared. The chi of the 3 golden armored guards had all reached the rogue immortal realm. The 3 golden armored guards raised their palms and each of them condensed a giant golden spear in their palms. The 3 of them looked at Ning Fan with respect. When they turned to look at the rogue devil again, their eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. Humph. This old man has already sacrificed all of the ancient divine incense. There's no reason for me to return empty-handed today. I will certainly kill the 2 of you here. Kill! The sect master of the 3 realms let out a cold snort. The 3 golden armored guards raised their hands at the same time, preparing to throw their golden spears. He was a divine cultivator with true blood. Using his true blood to command the shadows of the three ancient gods consumed a lot of his magic power. Seeing that the three golden armored guards were going to attack him at the same time, the rogue devil showed a hint of fear despite his strength. Ning Fan's eyes, however, remained cold. He stood on the shoulder of the rogue devil while his body emitted traces of the aura force of an ancient god with royal bloodline. Under this aura force, the three golden armored guards were all shocked and doubtful. None of them dared to throw their golden spears. As for the sect master of the three realms, he stared at Ning Fan in disbelief. He gritted his teeth and said, "Impossible! You're clearly a devil cultivator. Why do you have such a pure aura force of divine blood? Besides, the grade of your aura force has actually reached the royal bloodline level." The sect master of the three realms could only identify the grade of Ning Fan's bloodline. However, he could not tell that Ning Fan was an ancient god and not an ordinary divine cultivator. Ning Fan did not say much. He just glanced at the three golden armored guards with his cold eyes and gave an order. "Stand down." The three golden armored guards were suppressed by Ning Fan's bloodline aura force. Their hearts were filled with fear and they did not dare to utter a word. All of them turned into fragrant mist and dispersed. The moment Ning Fan used his royal bloodline to disperse the three golden armored guards, the sect master of the three realms immediately suffered a huge backlash. Then he opened his mouth and inhaled, swallowing all the golden mist into his stomach and forcing it into his divine heart. Then, 7 golden crystals formed in his divine heart again. At this point, he had completely devoured the ancient divine incense of the sect master of the three realms. If Ning Fan devours all 10 of the golden crystals, his magic power would increase by 40,000 periods. At that time, his magic power would exceed the limit of 100,000 periods. In terms of magic power alone, he would be comparable to an ordinary second heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old monster. "I miscalculated." The sect master of the three realms did not say much. He just showed a regretful expression. He did not expect Ning Fan to be a divine cultivator with royal bloodline. His ancient divine incense did not hurt Ning Fan at all. Instead, he used all of his incense to strengthen his enemy. How hateful! Kill! Ning Fan did not have the mood to talk nonsense with the sect master of the three realms. Today, only one of them could survive. As soon as he gave the order, the rogue devil immediately sent out rays of destructive fist light. The eyes of the sect master of the three realms darkened. Suddenly, his eyes shone with purple light. Purple sun open. A gigantic shadow of a purple sun suddenly appeared behind him. As soon as the gigantic shadow appeared, the aura force of the sect master of the three realms began to rise steadily. Be careful. He has the most sinister purple sun physique among the 7 yang physiques. Luo Yu's anxious voice resounded in Ning Fan's mind. Chapter 613. When he heard that the sect master of the three realms possessed the purple sun physique, Ning Fan immediately understood many things. The reason why the sect master nurtured Du was probably because of his scarlet sun physique. The gigantic purple sun summoned by the sect master of the three realms was shrouded in purple flames, but it gave Ning Fan an extremely cold feeling. At this moment, all the pores on his body shivered. It was an instinctive premonition of danger. This purple sun is very dangerous. Ning Fan had been taught an incomplete chant by Luo Yu which could devour true yang power. However, that chant was incomplete. It was impossible to break the purple sun technique of the sect master of the three realms with just a chant. Under the purple sun, the golden robes of the sect master of the three realms fluttered in the wind. His body was surrounded by tens of thousands of golden runes. His aura force rose steadily under the purple sun, almost reaching the peak of the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. This person was already a peak expert of the 9 realms. An ordinary void fragmentation realm expert could not be compared to him. Compared to him, Moksha Sovereign and Thunder Sovereign Buzhou were much weaker. First purple sun technique, burn. The sect master changed his hand seal. Waves of cold purple flames suddenly spread out from the purple sun, turning into countless gigantic purple firebirds that attacked Ning Fan and the rogue devil. Ning Fan's eyes widened slightly. The power of these firebirds was even stronger than the rogue devil's fist light. Without the help of the rogue devil, Ning Fan would certainly not be able to withstand the attack of these firebirds with his own strength. Ning Fan had to admit that the sect master of the three realms was very strong. He was not someone he could fight against. However, he and the sect master of the three realms were already irreconcilable enemies. No matter what, he must not let this enemy go. Attack! Under Ning Fan's command, the rogue devil immediately took a huge step forward, leaving Ning Fan behind. His devil chi flowed in reverse and his physical body suddenly shattered, turning into a monstrous devil mist. Then, the mist turned into an incomparably huge black skull. This black skull was an extremely powerful devil technique. It was one of the trump cards of the rogue devil. Devour! The skull opened its mouth and swallowed all the purple firebirds into its mouth with a boundless suction force. After withdrawing from the devil skeleton, the rogue devil turned back to his giant form and sneered. He felt that the technique of the sect master of the three realms was only so even though it seemed powerful. In the end, it was still easily broken by him. Just as he was thinking, he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his abdomen and heard the cries of countless firebirds. His huge body suddenly started burning from the inside out, and a big hole was burned in his chest. How dare you devour our sect's technique? Explode! The three realms sect master fiercely formed a hand seal, and the firebirds immediately exploded within the loose devil's body. The devil screamed and was blown into countless black mist. After a short while, the black fog condensed back into the loose devil's gigantic body, but its aura was much weaker than before. It was obvious that it had suffered serious injuries. At this moment, the scattered devil's body was burning with purple flames. The purple flames seeped into his body and turned into purple maggots that ate away at the scattered devil's body. Rogue Devil's god had Yang Yu Li Hu. He started Yu became anxious for Sun Yu god. This 9-dragon who Yu Fan had was in Sun Yu. The clan Sun Yu is Yuyan, king who Sun Hu Li. The sect Tian Yu clan of Liu. Ning Fan returned to the rogue devil's shoulder. Without saying anything, he squatted down and placed his palm on the rogue devil's shoulder. A whirlpool of black and white flames appeared on his palm. The traces of purple flames in the rogue devil's body were sucked into the whirlpool and sealed inside the steel of sun and moon. Ning Fan dispersed the purple flames in the rogue devil's body and stood up. His face suddenly turned pale and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. There was actually a purple fire maggot in the blood. What a vicious flame! Ordinary flames relied on burning to hurt others. The purple flame of the sect master of the three realms, on the other hand, relied on corrosion. If it wasn't because the rogue devil had suffered most of the damage from the purple flames and the steel of sun and moon could restrain flames, Ning Fan would certainly not be able to force the rogue devil's purple flames out with his current cultivation base. Seeing that Ning Fan had saved him, the rogue devil's eyes turned complicated again. The sect master of the three realms' face turned pale. It was hard for him to imagine that the purple flames that even the rogue devil found troublesome was actually broken by Ning Fan. Purple Sun second technique, combine. The sect master of the three realms changed his hand seal and leaped into the gigantic purple sun with a single step. His body slowly merged with the purple sun. After a while, the purple sun completely fused with the body of the sect master of the three realms. At this moment, the sect master of the three realms emitted a dazzling light like a sun. He changed his hand seal and the purple flames in his body suddenly flowed out, condensing into a gigantic purple poisonous dragon. The cultivation base of that purple poisonous dragon was slightly lower than the sect master of the three realms. It was only at the 7th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Separate, the sect master of the three realms continued to form hand seals. Balls of purple flames flowed out of his body and condensed into purple poisonous dragons. In an instant, There were already 8 purple poisonous dragons coiling around him. Kill! As the sect master of the 3 realms gave an order, the 8 poisonous dragons beside him rushed towards the rogue devil and Ning Fan. As for himself, he hid among the poisonous dragons, intending to cooperate with them to attack the rogue devil. Ning Fan clenched his fists tightly. At this moment, the sect master of the 3 realms' aura force skyrocketed. He even summoned 8 7th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm poisonous dragons to help him. His combat power had already surpassed the rogue devil. The rogue devil had a slim chance of winning against the sect master of the 3 realms. However, this battle was unavoidable. Once he steps onto the battlefield, he would no longer have the chance to retreat. He could only fight until the end. I have a secret technique that can allow me to recover my cultivation base above the void fragmentation realm in a short period of time. However, I need your ancestral devil blood to use it. If this technique succeeds, this old man will certainly die. The rogue devil gritted his teeth and said, what he meant was that he actually wanted to cooperate with Ning Fan to fight against the sect master of the 3 realms. How do I cooperate with you? Ignite your devil blood and lend me your ancestral devil might. All right. Ning Fan pondered for a moment and agreed to the rogue devil's request. Without saying anything else, he ignited a trace of ancestral devil blood in his body. At the moment the drop of devil blood was ignited, a vast devil might spread out from Ning Fan's body and was guided into the rogue devil's body. Ning Fan's face turned pale rapidly, but his eyes remained resolute. He did not ignite the entire drop of devil blood. He only ignited a trace of it. Even though he only ignited a trace of his devil blood, the devil might it produced was incomparably vast. It made the rogue devil feel a little suffocated. Strands of demonic might were guided into the scattered devil's body. The scattered devil immediately formed seals with his 10 fingers. His face also turned pale and his aura started to rise. Ning Fan had once extracted a large amount of devil chi from him, causing his cultivation base to fall. Today, after absorbing the devil might of Ning Fan's ancestral blood, he used a secret technique to temporarily replenish his devil chi, allowing him to recover his previous cultivation base within a short period of time. His aura force slowly rose to the 9th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm and gradually surpassed the 9th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. It was now between the void fragmentation realm and the life immortal realm. At this moment, the scattered devil's demonic aura gradually condensed around him. It was as still as stagnant water. He raised his head, glaring at the sect masters of the 3 realms and the 8 purple poison dragons. He was so angry that he actually laughed. Old fogey, fight me. With a wave of his hand, 8 huge black skulls suddenly appeared in the sky. The 8 skulls opened their mouths at the same time, each swallowing a purple poisonous dragon. As soon as the dignified 7th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm purple poisonous dragon was swallowed by the skull, he immediately let out a miserable shriek and died. The sect masters of the 3 worlds were shocked. They did not know why the rogue devil's aura force suddenly rose to the void fragmentation realm. He hurriedly stopped in his tracks. Even though he was shocked, he did not panic. Instead, he formed hand seals and chanted some incantations. Rot! The remains of the 8 poisonous dragons that were swallowed by the skulls immediately exploded, turning into boundless poisonous flames that corroded the 8 skulls into purple poisonous liquid. The poisonous liquid that blotted the sky turned into a purple poisonous rain, pouring down on the rogue devil's head. The eyes of the rogue devil turned cold. With a punch, the poisonous rain that blotted the sky turned into nothingness. The sect masters of the 3 worlds were shocked again. At this moment, the rogue devil gave him a feeling that he could not defeat him. He patted his storage pouch and took out a golden gourd. Then he cast it out. A ray of purple light floated out from the gourd. That purple light turned into an extremely fast sharp blade that could travel thousands of li in a single breath. With a slash from the sky, the rogue devil's head was directly cut off. The rogue devil's head flew high up into the sky. However, he did not die. Instead, he turned into black mist and dissipated. At the next moment, The black mist gathered again and the rogue devil's head grew back. Without saying anything, he raised his hand and grabbed the sharp purple-like blade. With just a palm strike, he crushed the blade into pieces. With a slap from his palm, the golden gourd was smashed into pieces across the sky. With another slap, a massive force hit the chest of the sect master of the three worlds from a distance away, directly knocking him down from the sky. What's going on? Why did this devil suddenly become so much stronger? The sect master of the three worlds glared at Ning Fan hatefully. He did not know what Ning Fan did to him, but he was sure that it must be related to Ning Fan. He had several chances to kill the rogue devil. However, Ning Fan was the one who interfered every single time. Now that the situation had changed, the sect master of the three worlds' heart sank. Most likely he was going to die today. The rogue devil took a huge step forward and gathered all of his anger into his punch. Each of his punches would certainly be earth-shattering. The sect master of the three worlds summoned his magic treasures to fight against the rogue devil. However, the rogue devil's current cultivation base had already exceeded the void fragmentation realm. It was not something he could fight against at all. Boom, 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 each of the magic treasures was smashed into pieces by the rogue devil. Rays of punches landed on the body of the sect master of the three worlds. 10 punches, 100 punches, 1,000 punches, 10,000 punches, 100,000 punches. The physical body of the sect master of the three worlds was about to be smashed into nothingness by the rogue devil. The immortal veins in his body were all broken and his primordial spirit had become illusory. He was not far from death. He could not run away. He could not win the battle. He was unwilling to die. The sect master of the three worlds glared at the rogue devil and then at Ning Fan. His eyes were filled with endless hatred and regret. If he did not listen to Moksha Sovereign's slanderous words and did not come here to kill Ning Fan, he would not have ended up in such a miserable state. It was too late for regrets. There were no ifs in life and there was no room for regret. The sect master of the three worlds was an ambitious and ruthless character in the heaven immortal world after all. His strength alone was enough to wipe out the three lower worlds. Now that he had ended up in such a state, he would not beg for mercy from Ning Fan. He would only fight with his life on the line. At this moment he ignited the purple sun in his body and swore to perish together with Ning Fan. I have never been weaker than anyone in my life. Even if I have to die right now, I will leave you a great gift. The strongest technique of my three-world sect is the sealing technique. I have studied the sealing technique for tens of thousands of years and combined it with my purple sun physique to create this technique. Immortal technique, purple seal. The sect master of the three worlds shouted. At this moment, his body turned into purple flames and soared into the sky. He was going to display an immortal technique to severely injure Ning Fan. Normally, only immortals could display immortal techniques. Even rogue immortals would not be able to display immortal techniques. The sect master of the three worlds had spent his entire life to create an immortal technique sealing technique. He sacrificed his entire life's worth of cultivation to finally display this sealing technique. His body turned into purple flames and his primordial spirit turned into purple flames. His Tao mastery turned into purple flames that filled the sky. Within the purple flames, there were countless golden runes, all of which possessed sealing power. The life of the sect master of the three worlds had ended at this moment. However, the immortal technique that he displayed was still continuing. Suddenly, the purple flames formed a massive purple whirlpool. It was similar to the whirlpool of the spatial vortex technique. It produced a boundless suction force, but it did not attract the rogue devil but Ning Fan. Ning Fan was originally standing on the shoulder of the rogue devil. However, when he was sucked by the whirlpool, he lost his balance and was sucked into the whirlpool 10,000 zhang away. Destroy it. Ning Fan hurriedly gave an order before he was sucked into the whirlpool. The rogue devil heard his order and immediately rushed forward. Countless punches landed on the purple whirlpool. However, he could not break it. It was an immortal realm sealing technique. Even though the rogue devil was strong, it was still difficult for him to break it. Moreover, the rogue devil could only rely on a secret technique to temporarily recover his previous cultivation base. As time passed, the duration of the secret technique would run out and his cultivation base would fall to the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm again. His punches began to weaken, making it even more difficult for him to break the seal. Inside the purple whirlpool, Ning Fan seemed to be fixed in place. He could not move at all. He tried to escape into the profound Yin world to avoid the seal, but he realized that he could not escape at all. Traces of purple light seeped into Ning Fan's body, slowly forming a series of sealing techniques on the left side of his body. Countless sealing techniques seeped into his body, causing him immense pain. His primordial spirit was also covered with a series of sealing techniques. The seal lasted for 2 whole hours. 2 hours later, the purple whirlpool disappeared. Ning Fan returned to his white robes and fell from the sky as if he was exhausted, landing heavily on the world passage. The rogue devil approached Ning Fan with a complicated expression and stared at him without saying a word. In the profound Yin world, Luo Yu witnessed the entire process of Ning Fan being affected by the sealing technique. She bit her lips with her pearly white teeth and clenched her fists so tightly that her nails pierced into her flesh. She had never felt so powerless before. With her current cultivation base, she could not help Ning Fan resist the immortal realm sealing technique at all. "I'm sorry." Luo Yu blamed herself. "Don't mind me. I've killed an 8th heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old monster, but I was only affected by a sealing technique. I didn't lose my life. It's already worth it. This is the price I have to pay for killing the sect master of the 3 realms." Ning Fan did not even have the strength to stand. All he could do was sit cross-legged on the ground and consume some pills. Then, he began to regulate his breath and magic power to treat his injuries. He casually comforted Luo Yu, not wanting her to blame herself. It was his own choice to kill the sect master of the 3 realms. All the consequences would be borne by him alone. It had nothing to do with anyone else. Ning Fan looked inside his body. When he saw the densely packed sealing techniques inside his body, he showed a mixed expression. Of course, his worries were greater than his joy. He was worried because this immortal realm sealing technique was really powerful. What he was happy about was that being affected by the sealing technique of the sect master of the 3 realms did not come without any benefits. This immortal realm sealing technique did not seal one's cultivation base. Instead, it sealed one's lifespan. Most of Ning Fan's lifespan had been sealed by this technique. Now, he only had 100 years left. Originally, when Ning Fan broke through to the void fragmentation realm, his lifespan would be greatly increased. Now that Ning Fan's body was sealed, even if he breaks through to the void fragmentation realm, the increase in his lifespan would still be sealed. He would still only have 100 years of lifespan. This sealing technique was extremely vicious. It was not that Ning Fan could not break it, but he did not dare to. He could use the wind mist technique to slowly break the seal. However, he would definitely have to bear the consequences of breaking the seal. If he did not cultivate to the immortal realm, he would die immediately once the seal is broken. If he did not cultivate to the immortal realm, he would also die after 100 years. The only correct way to break the seal was to break through life and death within 100 years and cultivate to the immortal realm. Normally, only immortals could achieve immortality. However, there were also exceptions. There were also a few rogue immortals who could break through life and death before becoming immortals and obtain immortality. These kind of people would usually only appear once in a million years. Ning Fan remained silent. In order to break the seal, he would need to become an immortal within 100 years. It was easier said than done. He did not think that he was a genius that appeared once in a million years who could break through life and death before becoming an immortal. Since he only had 100 years of lifespan left, it meant that he could no longer enter the dark golden pagoda from today onwards. The flow of time inside was too fast. He did not have enough lifespan to squander. Fortunately, other than the dark golden pagoda, he still had a second cultivation cheat, the profound Yin world. What a vicious sealing technique. If you can't become an immortal within 100 years, you will die. Luo Yu's heart ached. I won't die under this level of sealing technique. Ning Fan gradually recovered some of his magic power. He slowly stood up and glanced at the rogue devil. He then patted the devil pouch and kept it inside. Although he was sealed, this seal was not completely without its benefits. This sealing technique contained all the purple sun power of the sect masters of the three worlds. If one day, Ning Fan was able to break through to the immortal realm, he would be able to remove the sealing technique without any worries and refine and absorb the purple sun power within. Then, he could complete the second yang spirit of the steel of sun and moon. Ning Fan consumed some pills again and turned into a ray of light, speeding along the passage of the world. He did not have time to recuperate. He did not even give Emperor Moksha the time to search his primordial spirit and soul. He had to cross the passage immediately and return to the rain world. Because of the battle, the passage was showing signs of instability. It was unknown when it would collapse. If Ning Fan did not return to the rain world before the passage collapsed, he would be in big trouble. He sped along the way and passed by the battlefield. He collected all the storage pouches scattered on the ground and extracted the blood essence of the void fragmentation realm old monsters' corpses, storing them in the Xianwei blood gourd to brew blood wine. There were too many experts who had fallen in this battle. Ning Fan's harvest was naturally huge. However, he did not have the time to count his gains now. I must cross the passage as soon as possible and return to the rain world. In a secret chamber in the Nirvana Hall of the Devil World, two black-armored devil cultivators, one old and one young, suddenly sensed something. Their eyes were filled with extreme anger. In the Nirvana Hall, the life tablets of the four devil elders and the other experts were all shattered. How is this possible? The four devil elders have all died in battle. Even my current body has fallen. The two devil cultivators were enraged. In the heaven immortal world, in the three-world sect, the great elder of the sect was holding a broken life tablet. His entire body was trembling and his eyes were filled with fear. Sectmaster is dead. On this day, the heaven immortal world was in an uproar because the sect master of the three-world sect, who was at the 8th heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm, had actually fallen. The reason was unknown. The three-world sect did not disclose it to the outside world. However, those who were observant could still find some clues. In the middle state of the rain world, in the vast sky, a gigantic rain gate suddenly appeared out of nowhere. As soon as the rain gate appeared, a pale-faced young man in white robes walked out of it. All of a sudden, the sky was filled with drizzles. The left side of the young man's face was covered with purple sealing techniques. He glanced at the rain world indifferently and heaved a sigh of relief. Rain world, I'm back. Chapter 614. Ning Fan stood in the sky of the middle province with a slightly relieved expression. Not long after he returned to the rain world, the world passage completely collapsed. The world passage was formed by the world-breaking light. Once the world passage collapsed, the world-breaking light was enough to shred the bodies of scattered immortal cultivators. If Ning Fan's traveling light is slightly slower, he would probably die in the collapse of the world passage. That was close. Is this the Muyun nation in the west of the Central Plains? Ning Fan's spirit sense slowly spread out, covering an area of 1 million li. Muyun country was a low-ranked cultivation country. Its territory was only a few 100,000 miles wide. Ning Fan's spirit sense spread far and wide, covering all the cultivation cities and sects in the entire Muyun country. At this moment, all the cultivators of Sunset Cloud Nation were shocked. They felt as if they had been swept by an extremely powerful divine sense. The monarch of the Muyun kingdom was an old monster at the peak of the golden elixir realm. At this moment, he was in seclusion in a cultivator city. When he sensed this extremely frightening divine sense, he immediately exclaimed in shock. What level of divine will is this? Even a nascent soul cultivator's divine sense can't reach this level. Could it be the legendary soul formation divine sense? While he was still in shock, a black flame suddenly flashed in front of him, and a white-robed young man appeared in front of him. This white-robed young man was none other than Ning Fan. The reason why he came to look for the Mu Yun country lord was because he wanted to ask about the current situation of the Rain World. The king of the Mu Yun country stared at Ning Fan, who appeared out of nowhere. His heart was filled with extreme shock. His status was low and he did not know how Marquis White Robe looked like in the Rain World. Naturally, he did not know Ning Fan's identity. The reason why he was shocked was because Ning Fan had directly appeared in his stone chamber. One should know that there was a nascent level lower grade grand array outside the stone chamber. Since Ning Fan could ignore the low-grade nascent soul realm formation light and directly enter the stone chamber, his cultivation base was at least at the mid or late nascent soul realm. When he thought about the terrifying spirit sense he sensed just now, the king of Mu Yun inwardly guessed that this Ning Fan in front of him was probably a divine transformation realm old monster, and the spirit sense he sensed just now was from him. This junior is the Sunset Cloud Country's king, Zhao Shi. May I know why senior has come here? Is there anything I can help you with? The king of Mu Yun bowed and bowed deeply. He did not dare to raise his head as he was afraid of angering Ning Fan. Prince Lan Ling's injuries had completely healed and he had already successfully attained the void fragmentation realm. Even though this matter surprised Ning Fan, he did not pay much attention to it. To the current Ning Fan, even if Prince Lan Ling succeeds in attaining the void fragmentation realm, he was just a first void fragmentation realm cultivator who was not worth mentioning. As for Fairy Bright Sparrow, who had successfully attained the void fragmentation realm, it really surprised Ning Fan. Ning Fan muttered inwardly. Could it be that this little pill devil had picked up some heaven-defying treasure and eaten it? Otherwise, how could she attain the void fragmentation realm in just 2 years? Unbelievable. This is really unbelievable. By the way, the Rain Sovereign has the intention to summon 2 new void fragmentation realm experts. He has already summoned them to the Rain Palace a month ago. The monarch added. Bright Sparrow is currently in the Rain Palace? Ning Fan's eyes turned grim. Seeing Ning Fan's expression turn cold, the monarch was terrified. Cold sweat kept dripping down his forehead. He did not know which of his words had offended Ning Fan. Just as he was panicking, he saw Ning Fan waving his hand and taking out a pill bottle and giving it to him. I'm very satisfied with your answer. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Fan's figure flashed and slowly disappeared from his original spot. Inside the stone chamber, the monarch of Mu Yun held the pill bottle in his hand. The fear in his heart gradually dissipated. After a long time, he opened the pill bottle. As soon as he saw the pill inside, his face immediately lit up with joy. Then, he bowed to the direction where Ning Fan had left. Thank you for giving me the pill, Senior. I will never forget Senior's kindness in my life. The pill that Ning Fan gave him was a nascent formation pill. It could increase the chances of him forming his nascent soul. The monarch of Mu Yun was already close to forming his nascent soul. Thus, this nascent formation pill was very important to him. He was close to forming his nascent soul. Ning Fan left Mu Yun country. He rode on the ancient golden sword and flew away. He flew all the way to the east towards Heavenly Cloud Country. He sat cross-legged on the ancient sword. His body was as steady as a boulder. The violent heavenly wind could not shake his body at all. Occasionally, Ning Fan would consume some pills to recover his magic power and stabilize his injuries. His expression was rather solemn. He was a little worried about Bright Sparrow's safety. If Bright Sparrow heads to the Rain Palace, Mu Luo's 5 broken clones would not be able to follow her. At most, he would be accompanied by the little Sable. If the Rain Sovereign has the intention to harm Bright Sparrow, I wonder if she will still be safe. This time, Ning Fan did not stay in the tree world for a long time. However, a lot of things had happened. Collecting Sin Li, eliminating the Puppet Sovereign, the Vine Sovereign, the first-grade Rain Intent, killing the sect masters of the 3 worlds, every single one of them was enough to shake heaven and earth. When everything was put together, it was like an unbelievable dream. Only the densely packed sealing techniques in his body and the feeling of weakness that kept surging up his body and mind reminded him that everything was not a dream. My rain intent has already reached the first grade. It's enough for me to use the heaven-peering rain technique. Unfortunately, my magic power has been depleted and my injuries are severe. My body is too weak to use the heaven-peering rain technique just now. I need to recuperate for a period of time and restore my condition to its peak. Only then can I use the technique to search for my mother. I can only put aside the matter of looking for my mother for now. I'm afraid I can't hide the fact that I killed the Vine Sovereign from the Rain Sovereign. However, he certainly doesn't know that I killed the sect masters of the three worlds. With the Rain Sovereign's jealous personality, if he knows that I'm strong enough to kill the Vine Sovereign, he might harbor hostility towards me and have the intention to kill me. Of course, there's also the possibility that he might bury his hostility deep in his heart and try his best to befriend me. I don't know what his current attitude towards me is. If it's the latter, it's fine. However, if it's the former, Bright Sparrow might be in danger in the Rain Palace. However, with the Rain Sovereign's personality, even if he wants to harm her, he will choose to do it secretly. Yun Zhongshuan, don't touch my bottom line. If it's possible, I don't want to destroy the Rain Palace. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with cold light. If Bright Sparrow is really harmed in the Rain Palace, he would certainly not let the Rain Sovereign go. To be fair, if the Rain Sovereign was willing to live in peace with Ning Fan did not want to turn against the Rain Sovereign. The Rain Sovereign had chased after him and used him. Even if he occasionally protected him, he still harbored evil intentions. He had the intention to burn the bridge after crossing it. From this point of view, even if Ning Fan becomes the Rain Sovereign's enemy, he would not have any psychological burden. However, Ning Fan had received the grace of the Rain Ancestor. He had the bloodline of a king molding divine king and opened the divine aperture of an ancient divine being. Unknowingly, he owed the Rain Palace a huge favor. That was why he was reluctant to kill the Rain Sovereign. Silly little brother, you're just confused because you're too concerned. Your little sister Bright Sparrow is not an ordinary person. As a member of the royal family of the immemorial Dark Sparrow clan, she has the Pill Devil physique. Now that she has attained the Void Fragmentation realm, she might not be a match for the Rain Sovereign in a head-on battle. However, if the Rain Sovereign wants to kill her, I'm afraid it won't be an easy task. Besides, you also have quite a number of friends in the Rain Palace. There's the Pill Sovereign and Yun Bushu. They will certainly protect little sister Bright Sparrow for you. Luo Yu's reminder gently entered Ning Fan's mind. Her tone carried a hint of seduction and teasing. After hearing her words, Ning Fan's heart calmed down. Lu Yu was right. He was indeed confused because he was too concerned. Bright Sparrow was not a weakling. She had obtained Seed Song's inheritance before. She had many life-saving techniques. Even if she could not defeat the Rain Sovereign, she still had the means to protect herself. The Pill Sovereign and Ning Fan had been through life and death together. He would certainly take care of Bright Sparrow and not let the Rain Sovereign hurt her. The Pill Sovereign was a 7th Revolution Pill Refinement Master. If he wants to protect Bright Sparrow, the Rain Sovereign would also give him some face. You're right. Bright Sparrow will be fine. I've been worrying too much. Ning Fan's eyes gradually calmed down. During this trip to the Rain Palace, he must properly handle his relationship with the Rain Sovereign. It would naturally be the best if he could coexist peacefully with the Rain Sovereign. If not, he would have to establish his prestige in front of the Rain Sovereign so that the latter would not dare to attack him again. For the sake of the Rain Ancestor, he would try his best not to fall out with the Rain Sovereign. However, if the Rain Sovereign is stubborn and insists on being his enemy, he would not show any mercy. No matter how great the Rain Ancestor's friendship was, it was not enough for Ning Fan to let go of his true enemy. The journey to the Heavenly Cloud Nation was still quite far. It would probably take a few more days. Ning Fan put away his thoughts and focused on recovering his magic power. With the help of the pills, Ning Fan's magic power gradually recovered to its peak state. Unfortunately, there were still some hidden injuries in his body that had yet to heal. In particular, the sealing technique inside his body made him feel slightly uncomfortable. This immortal-grade sealing technique is extremely troublesome. This is the price I have to pay for killing the sect masters of the three realms. Ning Fan flicked his sleeves and took out 19 storage pouches. Among these 19 storage pouches, there were the storage pouches of the sect masters of the three realms, Moksha Sovereign, and 17 Void Fragmentation Realm experts, including Old Monster Tian Fei and the 4 Devil Elders of the Nirvana Palace. On the World Passage, Ning Fan had no time to care about these spoils of war. However, at this moment he could properly organize the spoils of war. There were a total of 420,000 Dao crystals in the 19 storage pouches. To Void Fragmentation Realm cultivators, every time they refine 10 Dao crystals, they could increase their magic power by 1 yuan period. To Ning Fan, every 5 Dao crystals could increase his magic power by 1 yuan period. It would take a lot of time to refine all 420,000 Dao crystals. However, if he refines all of them, his magic power could also skyrocket. Other than the Dao crystals, the other spoils of war were also very abundant. Among the 19 storage pouches, the ones that tempted Ning Fan the most were the storage pouches of the sect masters of the three realms and Moksha Sovereign. There were still 15 lightning shock balls in the storage pouch of the sect masters of the three realms. Each of them was enough to instantly kill a second heavenly layer Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator. Other than that, Ning Fan also obtained the defining technique of the Three Realms sect from the storage pouch of the sect masters of the Three Realms, the Vortex Space technique. Ning Fan had suffered a few times under the effects of the Vortex Space technique. Even though he knew that this technique was powerful, he did not put it in his heart. However, after reading the introduction of this technique, Ning Fan was deeply shocked by it. This Vortex Space technique was actually an immortal technique. Chapter 6:15. This spatial vortex technique was actually a type of immortal technique. If the full power of this technique was unleashed, it could easily seal an itinerant immortal. This technique had a total of 3 levels, divided into 3 realms. From the lowest to the highest, they were the Silver Swirl, Golden Swirl, and Void Swirl realms. In the history of the Three Realms sect, only the first sect master had successfully cultivated to the Void Vortex stage. The current sect master had only cultivated to the Golden Vortex stage. Given the level of the sect master of the Three Realms spatial vortex technique, he could easily seal an ordinary Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator with just a raise of his hand. If one cultivated this technique to the highest level, they would be able to seal an itinerant immortal with a wave of their hand. In order to cultivate the vortex art, one needed to refine a Grotto Heaven artifact to form a natal Grotto Heaven. The stronger the heavenly abode was, the more powerful the seal would be. Ning Fan's eyes lit up after reading the jade slip of the Vortex Space technique. He had many heavenly abode treasures and 3 small Kiliacosm treasures. If he could devour the heavenly Grotto Heaven space of all the heavenly Grotto treasures, and then devour the minor Kiliacosm of the minor Kiliacosm of the minor Kiliacosm of the minor Kiliacosm of the minor Kiliacosm, his natal heavenly Grotto Heaven would probably be even more powerful than the sect masters of the Three Realms. If he mastered the spatial vortex technique, he would naturally be more powerful than the Three Realms sect masters. If I have time, I can learn this technique. Ning Fan kept the jade slip of the spatial vortex technique and began to look through Moksha Sovereign's storage pouch. In Moksha Sovereign's storage pouch, there were many good items as well. What made Ning Fan's eyes brighten were the 2 jade slips. The first jade slip recorded a peak immortal void realm magic art. It was called the Revolving Wheel art, and it was one of Moksha Sovereign's strongest divine arts. This art was bestowed to Moksha Sovereign by the White Devil Sect Master. Cultivating this art required a high level of ice magic power. If this technique was cultivated to the highest realm, it would be able to reflect all Dharma attacks under the celestial technique. In terms of killing people, its power was almost comparable to a real celestial technique. This technique made Ning Fan's eyes lit up. If he wanted to cultivate it, he would have to wait until he had the time. The second jade slip recorded an incomplete demonic art. Nirvana Sutra. Ning Fan's eyes widened in shock. This evil art was the art to cultivate the Nirvana evil veins. The Nirvana demon vein was extremely abnormal. As long as one did not die from an injury, the more serious the injury, the greater the increase in strength after recovery. What Moksha sovereign cultivated was none other than this Nirvana scripture. Ning Fan carefully read the jade slip and his brows gradually furrowed. This jade slip only recorded the cultivation method of the present body of the 3 bodies of Nirvana. It didn't even have the cultivation method of the other 2 bodies, let alone the method to open up the Nirvana devil veins. However, after reading the contents of the jade slip, Ning Fan remained silent for a long time. Previously, he didn't know exactly what Moksha sovereign's current body was. But now, he knew everything. There were 3 Moksha emperors, 3 bodies in 1 body. What he captured alive was the current body of Moksha Emperor. Other than that, Moksha Emperor also had his past body and future body. This technique is incomplete. I can't cultivate it. Ning Fan kept all the storage pouches and jade slips. With a flick of his sleeve, he took out a black primordial spirit and held it tightly in his hand. Moksha Sovereign's primordial spirit. Moksha Sovereign was heavily injured by the rogue devil, and his primordial spirit seemed to be on the verge of death. If not treated properly, Moksha Sovereign's primordial spirit would perish in no time. Would Ning Fan heal him? Of course not. After his primordial spirit was captured, Moksha Sovereign's eyes turned ferocious. He snorted coldly. Since you have captured the primordial spirit of my current body, my other 2 bodies must have sensed it. They will come to save me sooner or later. I have the rogue devil. If any of your other 2 bodies come, I will kill them. Ning Fan sneered. Rogue devil. As soon as he thought of the rogue devil, the aura force of Moksha Sovereign's primordial spirit became much weaker. Since Ning Fan had the rogue devil, Moksha Sovereign's other 2 bodies were no match for him at all. Even if they come, they would only be courting death. What do I have to do to make you let me go? If you kill me, you will certainly offend the White Devil sect. Moksha Sovereign gritted his teeth and said, So what if I offend the White Devil sect? Soul search. Ning Fan was too lazy to talk to Moksha Sovereign. He directly used the soul-searching technique. Currently, Moksha Sovereign was not far from death. His primordial spirit was illusory. How could he resist Ning Fan's soul-searching technique? After letting out a miserable shriek, Moksha Sovereign directly fainted. As for Ning Fan, he searched his soul and memories unscrupulously. Moksha Sovereign's sea of consciousness was like a black ocean. Under this ocean, layers of seals were set. To Ning Fan, these memory seals were not worth mentioning at all. He could easily break them. As he flipped through Moksha Sovereign's memory fragments, Ning Fan's eyes became colder and colder. From Moksha Emperor's memories, Ning Fan saw Moksha Emperor's entire life. He saw his past when he was a disciple of the old devil. He also saw the whole process of him joining the White Devil sect and plotting against the old devil. Bang! Ning Fan suddenly clenched his palm and crushed Moksha Sovereign's primordial spirit, causing his blood to flow uncontrollably. The White Devil sect. Ning Fan's tone was cold, but his eyes were filled with killing intent. Gradually, he retracted all his killing intent and regained his composure. Revenge must be taken little by little. The current him was no longer afraid of Moksha Sovereign, but he was still far from being a match for the Northern Heaven White Devil sect. The White Demon sect was a great enemy, but it was still far away, far beyond reach. He had yet to finish killing all the enemies nearby. Moksha Emperor still had 2 bodies, the 3 Realms sect still had its foundation, and the Rain Sovereign's attitude was still unclear, and the enemy who harmed my parents, the mysterious 7-colored old man, I think I still have a long way to go on this path of evil cultivation. Ning Fan muttered to himself. 5 days later, Heavenly Cloud Nation. During these few days, a massive floating jade platform was built in the sea of clouds above the Heavenly Cloud 10 territories. A grand ceremony was being held on the Jade platform to celebrate Prince Lan Ling and Ming Kei's successful breakthrough to the Void Fragmentation realm. The seats on the Jade platform were already filled with the sect masters of countless first-rate forces in the Middle State. Sitting on the main seats were all the Void Fragmentation realm experts of the Rain World, including the Rain Sovereign. Yun Tianjue was still absent. Prince Lan Ling and Ming Kei had already taken their seats. There was also a third heavenly layer Void Fragmentation realm beautiful lady in black robes sitting beside Ming Quebec. She was none other than the little Sable, Mei Chen. Logically speaking, her injuries should not have fully healed yet. She would need to consume a high-grade 7th Revolution pill in order to fully recover. Only after her injuries were healed could she regain her third stage of the Void Fragmentation realm cultivation base. However, for some unknown reason, her cultivation base had already been restored. Beside the little Sable, there was another mysterious man. His entire body was covered in a black cloak, revealing only a pair of deep eyes that were like black gemstones. His eyes were filled with a cunning smile. This mysterious man also had a Void Fragmentation realm aura. However, his aura was extremely fleeting, making others unable to identify his exact cultivation base. Both the little Sable and the mysterious man had concealed their chi. Outsiders would not know that they were Void Fragmentation realm old monsters. However, the higher-ups of the Rain Palace and the Rain Sovereign knew about it. The Rain Sovereign wore a smile on his face, but his heart was filled with gloominess. He had never expected that Ning Fan had the strength to kill the Vine Sovereign. He had never expected that there were so many experts hiding in Yu country. The reason he sent Ning Fan to the tree world was to let him soak in the Zhurong spring to increase his fire resistance and help him with his tasks. Who would have thought that he would misjudge Ning Fan? Ning Fan was actually such a powerful person who could even kill the Vine Sovereign. The Vine Sovereign? His strength was even slightly stronger than the Rain Sovereign. Since the Rain Sovereign sent Ning Fan to the tree world, he naturally paid close attention to the happenings in the tree world. After knowing that the Vine Sovereign was killed, the Rain Sovereign paid a huge price to send people to the tree world to investigate secretly. When he received the information about the murderer, he could hardly believe his eyes. The appearance of the murderer was clearly the same as Ning Fan. The Northern Tree Sovereign Liu Bei was Ning Fan. Soul extraction, incarnation, and Sovereign's shadow. Ning Fan knew all of the 3 great Void Fragmentation realm abilities. Sovereign Qi. The person who condensed the Sovereign Qi in the Rain World in the past must be Ning Fan. Ning Fan is the enemy that I have divined. He is the great enemy that will stop me from becoming an immortal. This child hid very deeply, very deeply. If it wasn't for such a huge incident, how would I have thought that this young man could even kill the Vine Sovereign? Humph. Fortunately, I haven't sent him to retrieve the emergence pill. If I send him, he will certainly take away my emergence pill and stop me from becoming an immortal. The Rain Sovereign looked at Ming Kei, Mei Chen and the mysterious cloaked man with a hint of anger in his eyes. The Rain Sovereign had killed everyone who knew about Ning Fan's killing of the Vine Sovereign without making a public announcement. Other than him, no one else in the Rain World knew about it. After learning that Ning Fan killed the Vine Sovereign, he personally went to Yu country secretly with the intention of doing something bad. At that time, he was shocked to find out that there were actually 3 Void Fragmentation realm experts in Yu country. One of them was a 5th heavenly layer Void Fragmentation realm Tree Demon, a 3rd heavenly layer Void Fragmentation realm Martin Demon, and a mysterious cloaked man whose strength was unfathomable. Putting aside the Martin Demon, the Tree Demon and the mysterious cloaked man were both stronger than the Rain Emperor. After realizing the strength of Yu country, how would the Rain Sovereign dare to make a move against Yu country? Resentfully, he fled back to the Rain Palace. Later on, even Ming Kei succeeded in breaking through to the Void Fragmentation realm. The Rain Emperor's heart was in a mess. He did not know how to deal with Ning Fan. Ning Fan's strength was so great that it made him panic. What to do? Ning Fan alone could kill the Vine Sovereign, and Yu country still had so many experts. If Ning Fan wants to compete with him for the throne of the Rain Sovereign, he would certainly lose without a doubt. Could it be that I have no choice but to use the power of the divine beast in the sacrificial altar of the rain ancestor to eliminate him like what I did to the thunder sovereign 10,000 years ago? The rain sovereign's thoughts were extremely complicated. That divine beast's appetite was too big. If he were to make a move, who knew how much blood and food he would have to offer? Previously, when he was dealing with the Thunder Sovereign, he had secretly sent people to capture 2 million Golden Core Realm cultivators and offered them to the Divine Beast. Only then was the Divine Beast satisfied and helped him once. He didn't know what kind of price he would have to pay if he wanted the Divine Beast to take action again. No one present knew what the Rain Emperor was thinking. Each of the Void Fragmentation Realm experts of the Rain World had their own thoughts, but they did not show it on their faces. The Rain Sovereign calmed himself down and looked at King Lan Ling and Ming Quebec. Currently, he had yet to make up his mind to deal with Ning Fan. Thus, he decided not to touch Ming Ke for the time being. Fellow Taoist Lan Ling and fellow Taoist Ming Ke being able to attain the Void Fragmentation Realm is truly the fortune of the Rain World and my fortune. I intend to give you two some rewards. How about this? You two can tell me what you want. As long as it's reasonable, I will agree to it. The Rain Sovereign pondered for a while and decided to draw Ming Ke to his side for the time being. As for King Lan Ling, he naturally had to draw him to his side. For the time being, he decided to give them some rewards to draw them to his side. The Rain Sovereign's eyes swept across Ming Ke and Lan Ling, waiting for them to tell him what they wanted. Ming Ke looked at little Martin and the mysterious man beside her and transmitted her voice to them. No one knew what she said. After that, she stood up with a giggle and said to the Rain Sovereign, "I want to enter the treasure vault of the ruling Sky City and eat pills until I'm full." Eat pills until you're full? The Rain Sovereign was slightly stunned. Then he chuckled and said, "That's easy. After this grand ceremony, I will arrange for someone to bring you to the pill room of the ruling Sky City's treasure vault. There are quite a lot of pills inside. You can take them as you deem fit." The Rain Sovereign did not understand the true meaning of "eat until I'm full." He just thought that Ming Ke wanted to enter the treasure vault to take a few bottles of pills. Thus, he agreed without much hesitation. Ming Ke giggled and sat back on her seat, imagining the beautiful scene of her eating all the pills in the Rain Palace. After breaking through to the Void Fragmentation Realm, her appetite had become very big. She did not know how many pills she would need to eat before she could be full. The Rain Sovereign looked at King Lan Ling. The latter slowly rose to his feet and cupped his fists at the Rain Sovereign. His handsome eyes carried a hint of coldness. "I only have one request. Please grant it, Rain Sovereign." "What request? Why don't you tell me?" "I have some grudges with Marquis White Robe. I hope to sign a life and death contract with him and have a life and death battle." As soon as King Lan Ling finished speaking, his eyes secretly made eye contact with Yun Jinghong, Yun Zhongyan and the other princes. Obviously, two of the princes were involved in his request. The Rain Sovereign was inwardly shocked. How could this King Lan Ling be so ungrateful and dare to have a life and death battle with Ning Fan? When he thought about it again, he understood the crux of the matter. King Lan Ling did not know that Ning Fan had entered the tree world and killed the Vine Sovereign. He did not know how strong Ning Fan was. He once had a grudge against Ning Fan. Now that he had broken through to the Void Fragmentation Realm, he must have been urged by Yun Jinghong and the others to take revenge on Ning Fan. The Rain Sovereign also wanted to kill Ning Fan. However, Ning Fan had already become strong. Even the Rain Sovereign did not dare to touch him recklessly. King Lan Ling's request must not be granted. Marquis White Robe has yet to reach the Void Fragmentation Realm. How can he be fellow Taoist Lan Ling's opponent? Don't mention this battle again. Just as the Rain Sovereign was about to reject King Lan Ling, a golden sword light suddenly cut through the layers of clouds and flew towards the jade platform. Before the crowd could see the origin of that sword light clearly, they saw a white-robed young man put away his golden sword and landed on the jade platform with a leap. Then he sneered at King Lan Ling. "Do you really want to have a life and death battle with me?" It was just a sentence, but it contained a heaven-shaking aura force. Under this aura force, King Lan Ling actually felt a little unsteady on his feet and took a few steps back. He was extremely shocked. He could not withstand Ning Fan's aura force. Each of the old monsters of the rain world suddenly stood up and looked at the white-robed young man. Invincible origin returning realm. It has only been a few years and Marquis White-Robe has actually cultivated to the invincible origin returning realm. Chapter 616. Ning Fan's arrival had greatly exceeded the Rain Sovereign's expectations. The Rain Sovereign narrowed his eyes. He did not expect that Ning Fan had already returned from the tree world. Each of the old monsters of the rain world did not know what Ning Fan had done in the tree world. The reason why they were all surprised was because they found out that Ning Fan had actually broken through to the returning Origin Great Void stage in just a few years. Besides, after Ning Fan returned to his primordial essence, his aura force was actually stronger than King Lan Ling, who had a void fragmentation realm cultivation base. It was really unbelievable. Ning Fan. King Lanling's star-like eyes were suppressing the deep flames of rage. The cinnabar between his eyebrows shot out a blood-red light filled with killing intent. No one knew how deep his hatred for Ning Fan was. In the past, his true body failed to break through to the void fragmentation realm and suffered a huge backlash. Hence, he sent his second primordial spirit to the Endless Sea in an attempt to snatch the devil statue slate of the 4 great devil clans of the Endless Sea. He wanted to use the power of the slate to heal his injuries. Unexpectedly, his second primordial spirit suffered many setbacks in the Endless Sea and failed to obtain all the devil slabs. In the end, it even died in Ning Fan's hands. The death of the second soul caused King Lanling's injuries to worsen and he was on the verge of death. If he didn't have a way to treat his injuries, Prince of Lanling would definitely die. In desperation, King Lanling had no choice but to use the sect-guarding secret technique of the Lanling sect. He used the 7 Orchids technique to secretly kill millions of cultivators and mortals. He devoured the life force of all the dead and forcefully healed his injuries. After that, he succeeded in attaining the void fragmentation realm. But overusing the 7 Orchid technique caused King Lanling's body to suffer from serious hidden injuries and he suffered from the technique's backlash. Even though he had succeeded in the void fragmentation realm, he would never be able to attain the second heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm for the rest of his life. He hated Ning Fan to the core. He was a cultivation genius on the same level as Yun Tianjue. Before he had even reached the void fragmentation realm, he was already the #1 expert below the void fragmentation realm in Rain World. He originally had a bright future ahead of him, with hopes of reaching a higher realm. If it wasn't for Ning Fan destroying his second primordial spirit and aggravating his injuries, he would not have used the 7 Orchids technique to heal himself and he would not have ended up in such a state. His cultivation base would stop at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm for the rest of his life. His future was ruined in Ning Fan's hands. King Lan Ling fixed his eyes on Ning Fan. His eyes became colder and colder. He did not know why Ning Fan could break through to the origin returning realm in just a few years. He also did not know why Ning Fan's aura force was so strong. He only knew one thing. He wanted to kill Ning Fan to vent his anger. Even though he knew that the Rain Sovereign was biased towards Ning Fan, he still wanted to kill Ning Fan. Even if he knew that there was a void fragmentation realm expert in Yu country, he still wanted to kill Ning Fan. He had already descended into madness. Ning Fan's eyes swept across King Lan Ling indifferently. He felt that the current King Lan Ling was rather pitiful. He saw the crazy killing intent in King Lan Ling's eyes. His gaze moved away from the Prince of Lan Ling and glanced at the Rain Emperor. Then, he swept his gaze over all the old monsters of the Rain world. The Rain Emperor was smiling, but there was a sliver of coldness in his eyes. Ning Fan's heart sank. It seemed like the matter of him killing the Vine Sovereign had raised the Rain Sovereign's guard, and he even had the intention to kill him. Ming Kei was blinking her eyes at Ning Fan cheerfully while Mei Chen rolled her eyes at him. Seeing that Ming Kei was safe and sound, Ning Fan felt slightly relieved. When he saw that Mei Chen's injuries had actually fully healed and her cultivation base had also recovered, he could not help but feel shocked. As far as he knew, Mei Chen's injuries were extremely serious. She would need to consume at least a high-grade 7th revolution healing pill to fully recover. It's a little strange. Even though Ming Kei's innate talent is heaven-defying, the number of high-grade pills she needs to consume in order to attain the void fragmentation realm in just a few years is definitely not a small number. If Little Black wants to fully recover, she would need to consume at least a high-grade 7th revolution healing pill. Where did they get the pills to increase their cultivation base and heal their injuries? Did she give them to them? Ning Fan's gaze finally fell on the mysterious cloaked person. His eyes met with the cloaked person's black gem-like clear eyes. At first glance, he could tell that the cloaked person was a woman. Moreover, her eyes gave him a sense of familiarity. It was a little cunning and he felt like he had met her before. However, he could not remember where he had seen her before. The black cloak that the woman was wearing was an extremely powerful concealment spiritual equipment. Even Ning Fan could not see the woman's face clearly under the cloak. Her cultivation base was erratic, making it hard for others to see through her cultivation base. Ning Fan could only tell that she was at the void fragmentation realm. However, he could not accurately determine which layer of the void fragmentation realm she was at. Why are you looking at me? The pills that they ate were indeed given by me. Why? Does Brother Ning not remember me anymore? I'm a little sad. The cloaked woman suddenly transmitted her voice to Ning Fan with a playful tone. It's her. As soon as Ning Fan heard the voice, the memories of the past immediately surged into his mind. He was slightly surprised, but his expression did not change at all. He had already guessed who this woman was. He did not expect that it would be her. He did not expect that she would return to the Rain World. If it's her, everything would have a reasonable explanation. With this woman's identity, it would not be difficult for her to get a high-grade 7th revolution pill to heal the small sable. It would also not be difficult for her to get a large number of high-grade pills to help Bright Sparrow heal the void fragmentation realm. However, there was one thing that Ning Fan could not figure out. Why did this woman want to help Bright Sparrow heal the void fragmentation realm and the small sable? What was her motive? Ning Fan, do you dare to sign a life and death agreement with me? Let's have a life and death battle. King Lan Ling looked at Ning Fan provocatively. His tone was a little harsh. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. Even though he felt that King Lan Ling was pitiful, he would not sympathize with him. If King Lan Ling seeks his own death, he would not mind sending him to his death. However, before he could say anything, two voices that sounded like they were defending King Lan Ling rang at the same time. Lan Ling, step down. The Pill Sovereign suddenly stood up and said in a dignified manner, Fellow Taoist Lan Ling, don't you think you're bullying a Void Refinement Realm Junior with your Void Fragmentation Realm cultivation base? The sarcastic voice came from Yun Bushu. Other than the Rain Sovereign, no one knew how strong Ning Fan was. In the eyes of the crowd, King Lan Ling was a Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator who was stronger than Ning Fan. Even those who were familiar with Ning Fan's background did not think that he could defeat King Lan Ling. Both the Pill Sovereign and Yun Bushu had the intention to protect Ning Fan. Thus, they naturally wanted to stop this battle and not give King Lan Ling a chance to kill Ning Fan. Ming Kei, on the other hand, wore an eager expression. She wanted Ning Fan to accept the challenge and teach King Lan Ling a lesson. In her impression, Ning Fan was the invincible and omnipotent Brother Biscuit. He would never lose to anyone. Mei Chen pouted her lips and muttered softly, Don't tell me this stinky man snatched King Lan Ling's Dao companion? Otherwise, why would King Lan Ling slap him like that? It's him. Even though she was cursing in her heart, she had already made up her mind. No matter what, she would not let Ning Fan be in any danger today. The cloaked lady looked at Ning Fan's with a faint smile, not saying a word. There were people who defended Ning Fan and there were also people who defended King Lan Ling. Seeing the Pill Sovereign and Yun Bushu speaking out to protect Ning Fan, Yun Jinghong could no longer sit still. He exchanged a glance with Yun Zhongyan who was beside him. They stood up at the same time and said in a low voice, Alchemy Sovereign and Third Brother are meddling too much. Whether Marquis White Robe agrees to battle Prince Lan Ling or not is their private matter. We are outsiders, and it is not appropriate for us to interfere. It was obvious that the two of them were on King Lanling's side. Yun Jinghong kept signaling Yun Yomu with his eyes, hinting him to stand up and speak up for Prince Lanling. Yun Yomu, on the other hand, acted as if he didn't see it. He continued playing with the wine cup in front of him without making a sound. There were thousands of cultivators on the Jade platform, and every one of them was a famous old monster in the Middle Continent. All of them started discussing animatedly when they saw this scene. "Sit down. Don't mention anything about the battle again." The Rain Sovereign ordered the cultivators. The Rain Sovereign received news that Ningfan had subdued a fifth heavenly layer void fragmentation realm Nyeli in the tree world. With that Nyeli's ability, he should have killed the Vine Sovereign. From the Rain Sovereign's point of view, Ningfan could even kill the Vine Sovereign. If he has a battle to the death with King Lanling, he could eliminate King Lanling just by raising his hand. Naturally, he did not want such a thing to happen. When King Lanling saw the Rain Sovereign stopping him from fighting Ningfan, his eyes turned cold and his heart was filled with rage. He knew that Ningfan was useful to the Rain Sovereign and the latter had always been biased towards him. However, he never expected that the Rain Sovereign would be so biased towards him. From his point of view, the reason why the Rain Sovereign did not allow him to fight Ningfan was because he was afraid that Ningfan would die in his hands. Little did he know that the Rain Sovereign was obviously biased towards him because he was afraid that he would die in Ningfan's hands. Bang! King Lanling suddenly half knelt on the ground and bowed to the Rain Sovereign. Each of his words was heavy. "I have an irreconcilable grudge against Ningfan. Your Majesty, please allow us to have a battle to the death." Idiot! The Rain Emperor's expression instantly darkened. He also wanted to kill Ningfan. However, the problem was that even he, the dignified divine sovereign of the Rain world, could not kill Ningfan. "Lanling, you are just at the first destruction realm. How could you be a match for Ningfan? Who in the Rain world could resist Ningfan's Nyeli?" The Rain Emperor really wanted to tell the Prince of Lanling the truth, yet he could not bring himself to say it. He was the one who let Ningfan into the tree world. Since Ningfan had killed the Vine Sovereign, he also had a lot to do with it. The fewer people who knew about this, the better. Yun Yomu, who had been silent all this time, suddenly said, "Imperial Father, this son has a suggestion. I hope that Imperial Father will accept it." "What do you suggest?" "Father, why don't you allow the duel between the Prince of Lanling and Marquis White Robe? But there's a prerequisite. This duel won't be a life and death contract, and it won't be a life and death battle. We have to stop when it's appropriate," said Yun Yomu with assurance. The Rain Emperor nodded, and was slightly tempted. Since Prince Lanling insisted on having a battle with Ningfan, there was no harm in him agreeing to it. However, this battle must be stopped when it was over. Now that the Rain Sovereign saw Ningfan as his enemy, he did not want King Lanling to die in Ningfan's hands. "That's a good suggestion. Lanling, I'll allow you to fight Marquis White Robe, but this battle can't be a battle of life and death, and you must stop when the time is right. You must remember this." The Rain Sovereign made the final decision. He did not give Ningfan any room to refuse and directly made the final decision, deciding the duel between the two of them. Since it was not a battle to the death, the Rain Emperor had nothing to worry about. He also wanted to witness Ningfan's 5 evil separation technique through this battle. From the Rain Sovereign's point of view, Ningfan himself was just a cultivator of the origin returning Great Void stage. There was no need for him to fear. The reason why he was so strong was all because of Nyeli. If Ningfan wants to defeat King Lanling, he must summon Nyeli. This battle was the best opportunity to observe Sin Li. Yes. The Prince of Lanling stood up. There was no expression on his face, but in his heart, he resented the Rain Emperor's partiality even more. "There's no life or death in this battle, is it? I will take Ningfan's dog life in this battle." King Lanling's body flashed and he turned into a faint purple orchid that scattered. At the next moment, above the sea of clouds 1,000,000 zhang above the Jade platform, countless faint purple orchids condensed and King Lanling's figure appeared. He looked down at Ningfan from above. In King Lanling's eyes, he was already a void fragmentation realm expert while Ningfan was still a void refinement realm ant. He firmly believed that the difference between him and Ning Fan was like the clouds and mud. He believed that he had the strength to crush Ning Fan. Previously, his second primordial spirit died in Ning Fan's hands. This time, his true body was going to fight Ning Fan personally. Moreover, his true body had broken through to the void fragmentation realm and even brought along the sect-defining treasure of his Lan Ling sect. In this battle, there was absolutely no possibility that he would lose to Ning Fan. Ning Fan, get up to the sea of clouds and fight me. King Lan Ling wore a purple robe embroidered with pythons and a crown on his head, making him look like an ancient emperor. His cold shout was like an explosion of purple lightning. Yuan Hui magic power spread out and the sea of clouds was suddenly filled with faint purple orchids. This Yuan Hui's aura force pressed down on the jade platform below. Under this Yuan Hui's aura force, the chi of the old monsters who were famous in the middle state became chaotic. Those with weaker cultivations were directly suppressed to the ground by Prince Lanling's aura. The old monsters of the rain world looked at Prince Lanling with deep respect. All cultivators below the void fragmentation realm are ants. Is this the aura force of a void fragmentation realm cultivator? How terrifying! After these old monsters experienced King Lanling's aura force, they could not help but look at Ning Fan with a hint of sorrow in their eyes. Even though Marquis White Robe is strong, he hasn't broken through to the void fragmentation realm after all. He probably isn't King Lanling's match. Those below the void fragmentation realm are all ants. When has there ever been a void refinement realm expert who could defeat a void fragmentation realm expert in the rain world? In my opinion, Marquis White Robe will lose without a doubt. There's no need to watch this battle. Marquis White Robe has no chance of winning. Yun Qingge frowned as she listened to the discussions of the old monsters. Her obedient disciple, Yu Cheng, was so angry that her face turned red. What do you mean by Ning Fan will surely be defeated? However, Yu Cheng, felt that he was thousands of times stronger than Prince Lan Ling. She felt that she must be sick and very sick. Usually, when she saw these seniors and old monsters, she would tremble with fear. Today, however, she actually had the courage to challenge these old monsters. Ning Fan will never lose. He will definitely win. Yu Cheng, shouted loudly. The others were whispering to each other, but she spoke loudly. All the old monsters at the scene had sharp ears. Naturally, all of them heard Yu Cheng's voice. Yun Qingge shook her head and sighed softly. She knew that this disciple of hers probably had deep feelings for Ning Fan. Ming Ke and Mei Chen glanced at Yu Cheng, thinking to themselves that this lady couldn't be one of Ning Fan's lovers, could she? Ning Fan also heard Yu Cheng's voice. He gave her a deep look and responded with a smile. Yu Cheng's face immediately turned red. She lowered her head and panicked like an ostrich. This little girl is interesting. She actually said that Marquis White Robe will definitely win. In my opinion, Marquis White Robe should be proud of himself if he can withstand 3 moves from Prince Lan Ling. There are very few ordinary origin returning void fragmentation realm cultivators who can withstand 3 moves from a void fragmentation realm expert. All of a sudden, everyone around the jade platform burst into laughter. Yu Cheng's embarrassment disappeared and she became even angrier. What? There is actually someone who dares to say that Ning Fan cannot withstand 3 moves from Prince Lan Ling? I'm so angry. Who said that? In a moment of panic, Yu Cheng made a slip of the tongue. Who said that Ning Fan cannot withstand 3 moves from Prince Lan Ling? In my opinion, it is Prince Lan Ling who cannot withstand 3 moves from Ning Fan. As soon as she finished speaking, she regretted it. Even she herself felt that what she said was too unreliable. Prince Lan Ling was a dignified void fragmentation realm old monster. How could he not withstand 3 moves from Ning Fan? Just as she was about to correct herself, the surroundings were already filled with mockery. Ridiculous. How ridiculous. There is actually someone in this world who thinks that a void fragmentation realm old turtle cannot withstand 3 moves from a void refinement realm cultivator? How ridiculous. Ning Fan's eyes were like cold lightning. Suddenly he scanned the surroundings. When Ning Fan's gaze landed on each of the old monsters, they felt as if their sea of consciousness was being pierced by needles. Out of fear, they immediately shut their mouths. Indeed, they did not think that Ning Fan could defeat Prince Lanling. However, none of them dared to offend Ning Fan either. Marquis White Robe's notoriety was too great. When he was at the Void Inquiry stage, he had already swept across the entire Heavenly Cloud realm. Now that he had reached the Origin Returning Great Void stage, perhaps he was already the strongest person below the Void Fragmentation realm. No matter what the result of this battle is, Ning Fan was not an existence that they could mock. 3 moves, huh? Ning Fan muttered to himself. With a shake of his body, he turned into a butterfly shadow and disappeared. At the next moment, the butterfly shadow flashed and Ning Fan appeared 1,000,000 zhang above the sea of clouds, standing 10,000 zhang away from Prince Lanling. Today, you must die. Killing you is as easy as killing an ant for me. Prince Lanling transmitted his voice to Ning Fan with a cold smile. He did not want the Rain Sovereign to hear what he just said. He was afraid that the Rain Sovereign would shield him if he heard it. Above the sea of clouds, orchids danced around Prince Lanling's body. His demeanor was extraordinary, just like the son of a heavenly deity. As soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly raised his hand and pointed a finger at Ning Fan. When he pointed his finger, all the violet orchids turned into white orchids. An extremely dazzling white sword ray suddenly shot out from his finger. It split into 10, 10 into 100, and suddenly, it had already split into millions of sword rays. All of a sudden, it was the white orchid sword finger that Prince Lanling used in the Endless Sea. In the past, Ning Fan used the heaven-breaking sword finger to break the white orchid sword finger. In the past, Ning Fan used the heaven-breaking sword finger to break the white orchid sword finger. However, the current Ning Fan did not need to go through so much trouble. In terms of the current Ning Fan's magic power, he was much stronger than Prince Lanling. Destroy! Ning Fan just flicked his sleeves casually. His dense magic power suddenly turned into black butterflies that danced in the sky. With a wave of his sleeve, the white orchid sword light collapsed one after another and the orchids withered. When the sleeve reached the front of Prince Lanling, it suddenly turned into a giant sleeve shadow. The sleeve hit Prince Lanling's body. Even though he was not injured, he was sent flying 10,000 li away by the wind. His body looked extremely miserable. Who was stronger and who was weaker was immediately determined. How is this possible? A dignified void fragmentation realm expert like Prince Lanling was actually sent flying by Marquis White Robe's sleeve. This sleeve flapping technique can actually force a void fragmentation realm expert to retreat. Could it be the heaven and earth sleeve technique of the barefooted Taoist of the demon world? Nonsense! Marquis White Robe clearly didn't use any spells or divine abilities. He merely used the wind of magic power to send King of Lanling flying. Each of the Rain World's old monsters revealed an expression of disbelief. Each of the void fragmentation realm experts of the Rain Palace was equally shocked. Even the Rain Emperor looked stunned. The Rain Sovereign only knew that Ning Fan's Nyeli was powerful. How could he know that Ning Fan's actual strength was also this strong? Even the few princes who were present at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm could not do it. Ning Fan's personal strength was clearly above an ordinary void fragmentation realm expert. This is impossible. King Lanling managed to stabilize himself with much difficulty. His handsome face was already purple and he was furious from embarrassment. Ning Fan actually repelled him with just a single strike using his magic power. How was this possible? He didn't believe it. Absolutely not. He, Lanling, was a heavenly proud son of Yun Tianjue's level. How could he be sent flying by a void refinement realm junior? Ning Fan must have used some unknown methods. That must be it. He wanted to kill Ning Fan to vent his anger. 7 Orchids Art. King Lanling calmed down and killing intent appeared in his eyes. The power of this 7 Orchids art was boundless. His second primordial spirit could only display a fraction of its power. As for his true body, he had defeated Yun Jinghong, Yun Zhongyan and the other void fragmentation realm princes with just this 7 orchids art. He did not believe that Ning Fan could withstand the 7 orchids art that his true body displayed. Ning Fan stared at the 7 orchids that were slowly condensing in the sky. His eyes turned slightly serious. In the past, he could use the mutual death technique to break this technique. Now, however, he could no longer do so. The reason was very simple. He only had 100 years left in his lifespan. He could no longer squander it recklessly. Besides, the current him did not need to use tricks to win. Soul extraction. He raised his hand and extracted the souls from the ground and the void sky, devouring them. All of a sudden his aura force skyrocketed. It was almost comparable to a peak first destruction realm cultivator. Break! He raised his finger and pointed. Millions of small void swords slashed at the 7 orchids, shattering them. As soon as the 7 orchids were destroyed, King Lanling coughed out a mouthful of blood. He was severely injured by Ning Fan's attack. How is this possible? His breath was in a mess. His eyes were filled with shock as he stared at Ning Fan. His strongest divine ability, the 7 orchids technique, was directly broken by Ning Fan without any fancy moves. He didn't want to admit it, but he had to. At this moment, Ning Fan wasn't someone he could defeat. 2 moves. On the Jade platform, Yu Chong happily called out. When she said that Ning Fan could defeat King Lanling in 3 moves, she was just spouting nonsense. Now, she vaguely felt that Ning Fan could do it. Each of the old monsters of the Rain world was filled with astonishment. How could they not tell that Ning Fan's strength far surpassed King Lanling's? So, I have no choice but to use the treasure of my sect. King Lanling gritted his teeth. If he wants to kill Ning Fan today, he might have to use this treasure. He patted his storage pouch and took out a treasure. In an instant, the clouds changed color and the sea of clouds was filled with the fragrance of orchids. It was a scroll. When the scroll was opened, its contents were revealed. In the painting was a boundless snowy mountain and an icy river. Beside the riverbank, there was an orchid as bright as blood. Respect the orchid, attain the Tao, sheathe the orchid, lose the Tao. Snow orchid painting. As soon as this picture appeared, some of the old monsters of the Rain immortal world who were aware of the situation turned pale with fright. As for Yun Yomu, who had always been calm, his eyes suddenly flashed with a strange light. Then, his eyes gradually turned disdainful. Snow orchid painting. This painting is the supreme treasure of the Lanling sect. However, it is just a replica of the immemorial fisherman's cowhide painting of the shedding orchid sect. It's just a replica. Its power is not bad, but that's all there is to it. It's not worth mentioning. ZZZ. As soon as the snow orchid painting was opened, snowflakes began to fall from the sea of clouds in the sky. Each of the snowflakes contained terrifying killing intent. Fellow Taoists, help me seal the vast sky. The Rain Sovereign's eyes turned grim. He had to combine the strength of everyone to seal the snowflakes in the sky. He could not allow them to fall freely. Each of these snowflakes contained the 2 intents of life and death. They were great killing weapons. Cultivators below the void fragmentation realm would not be able to withstand the power of this treasure at all. They would die as soon as they touched the snowflakes. Has Lanling gone mad? He even took out this treasure. Is he going to disobey my order and fight Ning Fan to the death? The Rain Sovereign was infuriated. Chapter 617. The Snow Orchid Painting, also known as the Thousand Mountain Orchid Snow Painting, was the treasure left behind by the first sect master of the Lanling sect, Qian Shanzi. This treasure's grade wasn't high, but it had a powerful background. It was a replica painting that imitated one of the famous 4 ancient paintings, the primordial fisherman's cowhide painting. This replica contained the will of life and death. As soon as this diagram appeared, the sect masters of the Lanling sect were able to defeat void fragmentation realm cultivators who were at the same level as them. Once King Lanling took out this diagram, even an ordinary second heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old monster would be severely injured. The Rain Sovereign, the Pill Sovereign and the other Void Fragmentation Realm experts of the Rain World were shocked. At the same time, the Rain Sovereign, Pill Sovereign, Chu Chang, and Yun Qingge, Yun Daoku and the other Void Fragmentation Realm experts of the Rain Palace soared into the sky one after another. They circulated their magic power in an attempt to create a barrier above the jade platform to block the snow from falling and injure the people. Lock. Layers upon layers of green light barriers opened up in the air above the jade platform, blocking the wind and snow dangerously. In the sea of clouds above the barrier, the snow was getting heavier and heavier, and a biting cold suddenly spread across the entire heavenly cloud nation. In an instant, the world was plunged into darkness, turning into night. The northern wind howled, and countless cultivators of the heavenly cloud nation felt a bone-chilling cold at the same time. That kind of coldness seemed to be able to reach the depths of these people's souls, as if it could kill tens of millions of heavenly cloud nation cultivators in an instant. With their cultivation, they did not understand why they would have such a feeling. One by one, the low-level cultivators walked out of their houses, raised their heads, and sucked in a breath of cold air. In the night sky, the white snow and the dark night intertwined, forming a mysterious and unfathomable power that tore huge silver cracks in the sky. The paths of the cracks formed mysterious trajectories. Silver-white cracks intertwined with each other like countless intertwining silver snakes. Terrifying snow-white Tao lines poured out from the cracks, and they were imbued with the might of the great Tao, pressuring all the low-grade cultivators to the point of suffocation. The snow-white Tao line was surprisingly the Tao line of life, and it contained boundless Tao energy. At this moment, all the cultivators felt a great sense of danger from the crack. This is Tao orbit. I've seen it in Seed Song's memories. Ming Kei's small face was filled with astonishment. Initially, she had endless confidence in Ning Fan and was certain that he would defeat King Lan Ling. However, after seeing such a strange phenomenon, she began to worry about Ning Fan's safety. The Tao path was the path of a crack that a second-step immortal tore out of the great Tao. Immortals pursued the truth of the Tao and cultivated diligently every day just to comprehend the 3,000 great Taos. The great Tao was formless, but there were mighty cultivators who could trace the path of the great Tao and tear it apart, borrowing its power to attack their enemies. Immortals who could tear open the Tao track were all extremely powerful beings. Magic treasures that could tear apart Tao paths were all treasures with boundless power. Although the snow orchid painting was only a replica, it was still able to tear apart the Tao path, so its power was definitely not to be underestimated. This treasure can actually tear open Tao paths. Mei Chen's beautiful face paled. She didn't think that this snow orchid painting, which wasn't of a high grade, would be able to tear apart the Tao path. Once this treasure appeared, even Mei Chen wasn't confident that she would be able to withstand it unscathed. Even she was afraid of the destructive power of this diagram. Since Ning Fan had yet to attain the void fragmentation realm, how would he be able to withstand the attack of this diagram? Layers of yellow spring qi gradually gathered in Mei Chen's demon eyes. She made up her mind that if Ning Fan is in trouble, she would come to his rescue at any time. The cloaked lady's black eyes also carried a hint of worry as she murmured to herself. This treasure is indeed powerful. However, as the successor of ancient chaos, you should be able to withstand the attack of this treasure, right? Can you do it? Do you have the qualifications to make me pester you for the rest of my life? Yun Zhongyan looked at the silvery white Tao path that was torn apart above the sea of clouds. His body stiffened and his eyes widened in shock. Tao path. It's the Tao path. This snow orchid painting can actually tear apart the Tao path. This treasure is just too terrifying. With this treasure, Lan Ling will definitely be invincible among cultivators at the first heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. He can even put up a fight against cultivators at the second heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Yun Jinghong raised his head and looked at King Lan Ling. His eyes were filled with extreme fear and astonishment. Gradually, the fear and astonishment in his eyes disappeared and were replaced by undisguised joy. With this treasure, Ning Fan won't be able to escape death. Yun Jinghong's hostility towards Ning Fan had existed for a long time. If King Lan Ling manages to kill Ning Fan, he would naturally celebrate. Ning Fan stood amidst the heavy snow. His figure moved erratically, dodging the snowflakes. Even with his cultivation base, he actually sensed a great sense of danger from the snowflakes. Thus, he naturally would not let the snowflakes get close to him. Each of the snowflakes seemed as light as a goose feather, but in reality, they were extremely heavy. King Lan Ling's undisguised killing intent filled the sky of the snowflakes. The scariest thing was that the cold Dao power that leaked out from the silvery white Dao path rushed towards Ning Fan's face, causing his body to gradually stiffen. Countless ice threads and ice shards were frozen in his blood. There were also countless Dao threads of life flying towards him, forcing him to dodge to the left and right. A magic treasure that can tear apart the Dao path, huh? I didn't expect King Lan Ling to have such a magic treasure. I can't underestimate this person anymore. Since he took out this treasure and displayed its power, it naturally means that he has the intention to kill me. Since that's the case, I don't need to show any mercy. Ning Fan halted his footsteps. The wind and snow immediately blew at his face, along with countless Dao threads of life that pierced his face. Each of the Dao threads of life was even sharper than an immortal void flying sword. They could easily penetrate all of Ning Fan's defenses and turn him into a hedgehog. The attack of these countless Dao lines of life and death was enough to severely injure an old monster at the second heavenly layer of the void fragmentation realm. Ning Fan did not say much. He took a step forward and transformed into his black robes. His aura force rose sharply, and it was almost comparable to that of a second heavenly layer void fragmentation realm old monster. However, his aura force became more and more condensed, not allowing others to notice it. He patted his sword pouch, and a golden light immediately darted into his hand, turning into a long and thin golden sword. Emperor Xia's sword. With the sword in his hand, Ning Fan's aura force suddenly changed. The sovereign qi around his body was like a dragon, and there were even traces of golden sword intent flying around him. As expected, it is imperial qi, humph. The Rain Emperor's expression was livid. Before the countless Dao of lifelines could reach 3 zhang away from Ning Fan's body, they were all minced into pieces by the golden sword intent that was protecting him. Just as the snowflakes approached Ning Fan, they were immediately cut into half by the golden sword intent. Marquis White Robe has such a powerful sword intent. He can protect himself with just his sword intent. The strength of this sword intent is definitely not any weaker than the sword intent of the white-robed sword god. Each of the old monsters of the Rain World was initially stunned by King Lan Ling's snow orchid painting. However, after Ning Fan took out Emperor Xia's sword, their attention shifted back to Ning Fan. Deliberately mystifying things. Snow orchid open? At first, King Lan Ling thought that he could kill Ning Fan in a single strike after taking out the snow orchid painting. Now, when he saw Ning Fan block the attack of the snow orchid painting with just his sword intent, his eyes immediately turned grim and he violently shook the painting. The snow orchid painting flashed and a gigantic orchid suddenly floated out. The orchid was as bright as blood. However, as soon as it came into contact with the air, it immediately withered and turned black. Inside the black orchid, there was an extremely dense death qi. As soon as the orchid appeared, the sky suddenly began to crack, revealing pitch-black Dao paths that crisscrossed with each other. Countless black lines shot out from the cracks. At a certain moment, the black orchid suddenly began to spin violently. As it spun faster and faster, millions of black Dao paths were immediately drawn out. All of them were Dao paths of death. Die! At this moment, King Lan Ling no longer concealed his killing intent towards Ning Fan. He shook the snow orchid painting again. The wind and snow became even stronger. Within the silvery white Dao paths, millions of Dao paths of life shot out again. The white lines interweaved to form a gigantic fishing net that fell on Ning Fan's head. There was no way for him to escape. The black lines turned into countless fishing lines that had hooks attached to them. Everything that was hooked by the hooks would lose their life force. The fishing net of fortune and the immemorial fishing line? Huh? Ning Fan looked at the fishing nets and fishing lines that filled the sky. He raised the golden sword in his hand and pointed at the nets and fishing lines that filled the sky. It was just a simple sword light. However, in the blink of an eye, it emitted an endless amount of golden sword light, cutting all the fishing nets and fishing lines into pieces. It was as if this sword was powerful enough to pierce through heaven and earth. It was as if this sword was powerful enough to destroy all the gods and devils in this world. The snow orchid painting was indeed powerful. Even though it could tear apart the Tao paths, it was just an imitation magic treasure after all. Compared to Emperor Xia's sword, it was still much weaker. This was because Emperor Xia's sword was not just a powerful magic treasure. The sword intent that it contained was even more terrifying. How is this possible? King Lan Ling was astounded. He had already activated the snow orchid painting to its maximum power, but it was broken by Ning Fan with a single sword strike. Initially, he thought that after his true body broke through to the void fragmentation realm, he would be able to crush Ning Fan with ease. However, he did not expect that Ning Fan's strength was higher than his. Initially, he thought that he could easily kill Ning Fan's with the snow orchid painting. Unexpectedly, the golden sword in Ning Fan's hand was even more powerful than the snow orchid painting. At this moment, Ning Fan unleashed his full combat power. Holding Emperor Xia's sword in his hand, the pressure he gave King Lan Ling was much heavier than the 3 old monsters of the Sha clan. King Lan Ling's back was already soaked with cold sweat. If he had known that Ning Fan had such strength and even possessed such a powerful magic treasure, he would definitely not have fought him to the death with full confidence. Luckily, the Rain Sovereign had already given the order that no one would die in this battle. King Lan Ling knew that he was no match for Ning Fan, but he did not think that Ning Fan would dare to disobey the Rain Sovereign's order and kill him. Initially, I thought that the Rain Sovereign was siding with Ning Fan by stopping this battle. From the looks of it now, the Rain Emperor wants to protect me. King Lan Ling retreated step by step. On one hand, he avoided the golden sword light that filled the sky, while on the other hand, he used the snow orchid painting to protect himself. He no longer had any intention to fight. On the other hand, Ning Fan was approaching him step by step. He held a 3 long golden sword in his hand. His body shone with dazzling golden light, making him look like a heavenly deity that no one dared to look at directly. Every step he took was accumulating his sword force. Every step he took seemed to be stepping on King Lan Ling's Tao heart, making him shudder. Only then did King Lan Ling realize that Ning Fan did not have the intention to stop at all. When he had the intention to kill Ning Fan also had the intention to kill him. Not good. This man wants to kill me. Rain Sovereign, save me. King Lan Ling wanted to call for help, but it was already too late. Before he could say anything, Ning Fan had already waved his sword light. After taking 9 steps, Ning Fan's sword force reached its peak. At this moment, Ning Fan's ears were filled with silence. He could clearly hear his own heartbeat. Golden sword intent flashed across his eyes. In his heart, a cold and proud voice of a woman echoed over and over again. If I break my sword, there will be no martial arts under the heavens. Qi Ning Fan suddenly raised his sword and made a second horizontal slash. As soon as the sword slashed out, golden light flashed. The sword light had already traveled across a vast distance and arrived in front of King Lan Ling. The sword light was too fast. It was so fast that even the Rain Sovereign could not save King Lan Ling in time. Have mercy! The Rain Sovereign suddenly stood up and cried out involuntarily. However, his words were still too slow. Before he could open his mouth, King Lan Ling was already cut into 2 by the golden sword light. His primordial spirit was directly slashed in his dantian. He did not even have the chance to escape. After this horizontal slash of golden sword light killed King Lan Ling, it continued to slash into the distance. Pieces of the vast sky were slashed by the golden sword light, collapsing towards the distance. In just an instant, the vast sky of millions of li was completely shattered by Ning Fan's sword. No. King Lan Ling's eyes widened. He could not believe the fact that he was killed by Ning Fan even at the moment of his death. His storage pouch was taken away by Ning Fan with a raise of his hand. His mutilated corpse fell from the sky, passing through the barrier and landing on the jade platform. With a loud bang, his flesh and blood splattered all over the ground. An earth-shattering baleful chi spread out from King Lan Ling's corpse. None of the cultivators below the void fragmentation realm could maintain their sanity under such baleful chi. This was the baleful chi that was formed after a void fragmentation realm expert died. How could ordinary cultivators withstand it? He's dead. Ning Fan has actually killed King Lan Ling. Yun Jinghong's back was drenched in cold sweat while Yun Zhongyan had already turned into a stone statue. Both of their strengths were far weaker than King Lan Ling. If even King Lan Ling was not Ning Fan's opponent, they were even less of a match for him. This time, it was the two of them who urged King Lan Ling to challenge Ning Fan. Now that King Lan Ling was already dead, they were afraid that Ning Fan would pursue this matter. In the past, they regarded Ning Fan as an ant. Now, however, they saw him as a ferocious tiger. Each of the old monsters of the Rain World stared at Ning Fan in horror. To them, void fragmentation realm old monsters were supreme existences. However, such a supreme void fragmentation realm old monster was killed by Ning Fan with a single sword strike right in front of their eyes. This kind of shock was enough to haunt them for the rest of their lives. Ning Fan, how dare you? This empress has already said that life and death cannot be determined in this battle. Why did you disobey this empress's orders and kill Lan Ling? All of a sudden, the Rain Sovereign rose to his feet and glared at Ning Fan coldly. Ning Fan kept the snow orchid painting and descended from the jade platform. He did not say a word to defend himself. His eyes were filled with killing intent and he gave the Rain Sovereign an equally cold glare. Just a single look from him contained the void fragmentation realm baleful chi of countless void fragmentation realm beings who died in his hands. From Bone Sovereign, Vine Sovereign, Wanchangkung, Moksha Sovereign, Sect Master of the Three Realms. The void fragmentation realm experts who died in the tree world and the countless void fragmentation realm experts who died on the world path. Among these people, some were killed by Nieli, some were killed by the rogue devils and some were killed by Ning Fan himself. No matter who it is that kills him, Ning Fan would more or less be tainted with an extremely heavy baleful chi. This was the sin of killing, karma, a sin that could not be avoided. This gaze contained a monstrous sea of blood. It was something that the Rain Sovereign, who guarded the Rain World, could never imagine. When he met Ning Fan's eyes, the Rain Sovereign suddenly broke out in cold sweat. His breathing became chaotic. He took a few steps back before he managed to calm his breathing. Terrifying. The baleful chi in Ning Fan's eyes was too terrifying. The death of King Lan Ling was out of the Rain Sovereign's expectation. It made him act impulsively and say something presumptuous to Ning Fan. After being glanced at by Ning Fan, the Rain Sovereign recalled how dangerous Ning Fan was and immediately shut his mouth. Ning Fan possessed the ability to break the 5 evils. He even dared to kill the Vine Sovereign. As the dignified Rain Sovereign, he could not afford to offend the current Ning Fan. Lan Ling tried to kill me. Therefore I killed him. What he said sounded like an explanation but also a warning. Ning Fan's eyes swept across the entire place coldly. His baleful chi spread out without reservation, dispersing the darkness and dyeing the sea of clouds in the color of blood. The reason why he killed Lan Ling was not only to get rid of him but also to give the Rain Sovereign a warning. Each of the arrogant old monsters of the Rain World felt a sharp pain in their sea of consciousness when they met Ning Fan's gaze. Their chi became chaotic and they retracted their gazes and lowered their heads, not daring to look him in the eye. The Rain Sovereign gradually calmed down. He could hear the warning in Ning Fan's words. If he becomes Ning Fan's enemy, he would end up like King Lan Ling. If they become friends, Ning Fan would not attack the Rain Palace. The Rain Sovereign's face darkened. He knew that he had to carefully consider his attitude towards Ning Fan in the future. Either he would dispel the hostility between them or he would eliminate this person completely. Qi Ning Fan suddenly raised Emperor Xia's sword and pointed the sword light at a massive cloud mountain 10,000 li away. With a flick of his wrist, the sword gleam carved 8 large words on the distant mountain of clouds. The rain doesn't betray me and I won't betray the rain. The others were puzzled by Ning Fan's action, but the Rain Sovereign was inwardly shocked. He knew that these 8 words were Ning Fan's warning and also Ning Fan's bottom line. If he insists on becoming Ning Fan's enemy, Ning Fan would annihilate the Rain Palace. In the first test of the ruling Sky City, I have obtained some benefits from the Rain Ancestor and I owe the Rain Palace a favor. I can forget about the old grudge that you have against me in the past. But remember, there will be no next time. Ning Fan transmitted his voice to the Rain Sovereign. They are tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.